of the site to a number of factors, chief amongst them an increase in the number of girls who sat the examination. Indeed, the number of girls taking the exam has been steadily increasing over the years. This year alone, 26,000 more girls sat the examinations as opposed to 25,000 more boys when compared to last year's numbers.
We have more or less acquired gender parity at about 50.1 to 49 point something that's near 50. So we're like 50% of the students are females, 50% are males. And that alone is a major factor in determining how the number of girls that are seen to perform are there, because in the yesteryears the ratios were much less.
Numbers aside, the deliberate and calculated efforts by different players in the education sector to empower the girl child are said to have a direct impact on the good showing of the girl child in the national examinations.
The girl child has been the talk of town. Government policies, NGOs, families tended to have fingered the girl child to ensure that the girl child was empowered. This empowerment, when you now come to the working class section of this economy, means that the parents tend to keep their eyes on the girls because the girls are the receptacles.
Nowhere is this best exemplified than by the performance of girls in Korea. For decades, this area has been in the grip of female genital mutilation, a practice that has denied girls a chance to pursue even basic education. This time round, the top performing pupils have been girls.
This time round, we have shown men that we are able and we are capable. So it will be an example to them that we can do it.
Elimu ya wasichana imezingatiwa huku Kuria. Na tunaona faraja sana.
But with the rise of the girl child, concern is being raised about the fate of the boy child who stands the danger of being left behind.
In terms of benefits, especially in the poorer sections of this economy, because we have targeted the girl child all along, maybe it is time to remember that there's also a boy child that should, at the very worst, be treated in the same manner as the female.
For now, though, the girls will be hoping that the same good fortunes they currently enjoy at the primary school level will translate to both the secondary and university level and eventually spill over into the workplace. Brenda Wanga, NTV.
Right, the question is, where is the boy child? But I bet it's being addressed. Now, the transition rate of pupils who have just completed their primary education to secondary school is expected to be high compared to the previous years. This follows the free secondary education that takes effect from 2018 as per the government plans. In fact, the government has allocated about 25 billion shillings for that, as Sharon Baranga now reports.
The results of the 2017 Kenya Certificate of Primary Education are unique. None of the candidates had their results cancelled, and the candidates from across the country outdid themselves. 9,846 candidates scored 400 and above, and those who scored between 301 and 400 marks were 217,307. Come January next year, the government is expected to start the Free Secondary Education for All initiative. This means that the transition rate for pupils from primary schools to secondary schools will shoot up.
We were here to engage ourselves on the blueprint on the free secondary education, which is ready.
When you go to Form 1 next year, you're going to be a very fast crop of students who will join Form 1, and you will not be paying fees in Form 1 because of the free day secondary education program that we have.
But education stakeholders feel that this will not be the right time for such a program, saying it may compromise the quality of education.
Nobody should talk about free education when there is acute shortage of teachers. Education begins with a teacher. A school is a school first when there is a presence of a teacher. Then we can talk about classrooms, laboratories, and other teaching and learning tools.
For students and parents, free secondary education is a welcome idea, as many could advance their education after primary school. The dream could materialize even amidst the issues other stakeholders in the sector have raised.
Kwa mambo ya free education ambayo imekuwa political flagship na pesa zinamwagwa kule, hatujahusishwa kuketi kuweka mipangilio sawasawa na tuelewe kama walimu principals watafanya nini, wanafunzi wakiongezeka, mambo ya walimu, Teacher Service Commission inafanya nini. Hayo ni maswali tumeyauliza, hatujapata majibu. Na Teacher Service Commission wanasema wakipewa pesa wataajiri walimu.
The government scrapped 9,374 shillings school fees, which each student in public secondary schools has been paying per year to pave way for complete free day secondary school, set to start in January 2018. Learners in day secondary schools will not pay any school fees. Each student will be receiving 22,244 shillings from the government. The first disbursement will be in December, and subsequent disbursements will be in April and August. For those in boarding schools under Category A that comprises national and extra-county schools in Nairobi, Mombasa, Nakuru, Kisumu and Eldoret, they will receive the same amount as those in day schools, and then the parent will pay additional 53,554 shillings, which then totals to 75,798 shillings. Category B schools, which comprises of extra county schools in other areas, will also receive the same amount, and the student will top up with another 40,535 shillings, which will bring the total to 62,779 shillings. Special needs students will be receiving 57,974 shillings each, and the parents will be expected to top it up with 10,790 shillings, bringing the total to 68,764 shillings. Schools are expected to have tuition account, operational account, boarding account, a savings account under the boarding account cash book to hold collections not for immediate use, and school infrastructure account for grants from the government. All these to ensure there is accountability and smooth implementation of the free secondary education program. Sharon Baranga, NTV.
And still in the education sector, students across the country are still in celebration mode after receiving their KCPE results. Education Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i released the results a month earlier than expected.
Song after song accompanied the academic giants from Sunshine Academy in Garissa. They were held high as parents, teachers and friends gathered to sing their praises. Farhia Ahmed Halef was brimming with joy, having emerged the top in Garissa County with 423 marks. Frida Nelson, another Sunshine Academy pupil, also excelled with 420 marks.
I appreciate my teachers and parents too. I know they have worked hard in order to achieve our goals. I would like to thank my teachers first, for they have been with me through hardship. This time which was so small, but I just pushed all around with those teachers.
In Kilifi County, top performers shared their success with friends and family. From Kilifi High Vision, parents and teachers celebrated Timur Ibrahim and Prudence Uchi, who scored 431 marks and 427 marks respectively.
I'm proud that I've gotten this mark, even though it was not to my expectation. I never expected such a mark, but I thank God for that mark.
16-year-old Richard Tunje, a student from Kilifi Vonwald Primary, could not stop gushing about his sponsor, who saw him through 8 years of school and now was beaming after receiving his score of 412 marks.
Richard amekuwa kijana mzuri, amekuwa very promising. Na tulikuwa hatuna shaka kwamba Richard atafanya bora zaidi.
In Voi, 13-year-old Kambale Enoch turned up with the highest marks recorded in public schools in the Coast region, having scored 436 marks. He attributed his success to guidance from his peers and putting in the work. Despite the political violence witnessed in Kawangware area, Jonathan Lamole, a South Sudanese pupil at Excel School, managed 434 marks, emerging the top student in Dagoretti County. The 13-year-old and his fellow candidates were forced to board in the school in order to escape the looting and mayhem as police battled protesters. 7 students in the school scored above 400 marks.
I'd also like to thank our teachers for their support. If it wasn't for the dedication of the school staff, I don't know where we would have been.
The Kipkeino School faculty in Eldoret celebrated its top pupil Bill Rono Rotich and Julie Chemutai after racking up 429 marks and 426 respectively. Chemutai beamed with joy as her dream of joining Mary Hill Girls is on the way to becoming a reality. Teachers, parents and students gathered at Riara Springs Academy school grounds to celebrate an outstanding performance by the students. The hero of the day was Samuel Wagura, who rose to the top after registering 440 marks. 54 students scored 400 marks and above, with the last student managing 310 marks. Millicent Wanza, a pupil at Kanginga Oasis Academy in Mwingi, scored 432 marks to emerge the best KCPE candidate in Kitui County. Other students who are in on the celebrations include Kevin Momo, who scored 424 marks, and Edna Mwende, who topped her class with 424 marks. The Form 1 selection process is expected to be complete by the 4th of December. Tesele Siloma, NTV.
Right, detectives from Thika Police Division headquarters have opened a tunnel that thugs used to gain access to the Kenya Commercial Bank in Thika and stole 50 million shillings in cash using an excavator. The 10-feet long and 2-feet wide tunnel was reinforced with metal rails and wood planks to stop it from collapsing inside the tunnel. The investigations discovered a welding gas cylinder, gas mask, planks of wood for supporting the tunnel, cartons for ferrying the sand, overalls, spirit level, batteries, and an inverter for lighting the tunnel, among other things. The operation, which was conducted yesterday afternoon, attracted onlookers who were eager to see how the robbers gained access to the building following the robbery. Kiambu County government says it will install closed-circuit television cameras in the streets and businesses along the banks and other financial institutions with the aim of reducing crime and increase safety. Well, that is a developing story, especially the fact that a lot of people really want to know how that was possible with the bank sitting only 150 meters across a police station. So it's very interesting once that is unearthed by the investigators. Moving on, we will have that story later. IBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati has spoken publicly for the first time on the Supreme Court ruling that upheld the re-election of President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto. Chebukati welcomed the decision while dismissing calls for the resignation of the commissioners. The Kenya Human Rights Commission wants the commission and secretariat to vacate office to pave way for reforms. Peter Mwangangi now reports.
2 days after the Supreme Court dismissed 2 petitions challenging the validity of the repeat presidential election, IBC Chair Wafula Chebukati was at Serena Beach Hotel in Mombasa for the annual Juris Conference. He mingled freely with members of the civil society, most of whom have been unhappy with his management of the IBC.
The Commission, we believe we did 2 elections in 3 months, which is I believe a commendable effort as an EMB. I don't think any other EMB in Africa or the world has done that. And I also believe that The Supreme Court, by its determination, has confirmed that the election carried out on 26th of October was properly done within the law.
But not all agree with him. Some activists maintain that there must be reforms at the commission, saying not all Kenyans have faith in the current body.
Basically, they should put in place a transition plan. I think the country will need a long time to prepare for the next elections, preferably without the current IBC. So Chebukati needs to tell the country that within the next whatever period, I and my commissioners will vacate office.
At the end of the day, commissioners are in office. They didn't just come in office. They were interviewed. They were brought in office by virtue of the constitutional provisions, and there are clear guidelines as to the term of office and exit from office. So I believe those are his personal views or views of his organization. They are not the views of Kenyans.
Chebukati admits there are some gray areas, but will deal with them as highlighted by the Supreme Court's full judgment.
Once the judgment comes out, we shall evaluate it. We shall tell the country our roadmap on the way forward. We are talking about reforms in the laws. We are talking about reforms in the entire system of IBC, restructuring the processes, and those are things which we must do, and we shall embark on it immediately after we receive that judgment.
The civil society says reforms at the IBC must be done now when they believe the issue will be less politicized. Peter Mongangi, NTV, Mombasa.
The Communication Authority has defended its directive to media houses on Friday last week not to broadcast opposition meetings live. CA Director General Francis Wangusi says the authority has to step in whenever such meetings can be used to incite hate speech. Wangusi has also criticized hooligans and terrorists who have destroyed more than 8 communication-based stations in the recent past, the most recent being a Safaricom mast in Kisumu County. Andrew Ching has the details.
The directive that had come from the Communications Authority on Friday had not been backed by any law, just an order that media houses should not broadcast content that can create hatred and incitement and threaten peace and cohesion. The authority says its intention was not to gag the media or black out the opposition, but insists that coverage of Friday's events would have led to an increased breach of peace.
We did not ban live broadcast, but we only, in the circumstances, blacked out areas which I know even you as journalists would find it difficult to meet our delay time of 7 seconds in terms of demonstrations that are vibrant everywhere, in terms of incitements, riots here and there, which can have a ripple effect. In fact, you may call it a copycat effect to the country, because then other people who are watching this live might think that is exactly the situation that is everywhere.
Wangusi quotes constitutional provisions and media codes that bar the media from broadcasting any content that is likely to incite Kenyans. But then again, the same constitution guarantees media rights to broadcast without any interference from the state. Better yet, the broadcasting regulations require that media give all contestants in a political duel equitable time.
You should be able to give the public what, of course, should also be able to help them build their confidence and not get excited or incited on activities that are taking around. We are not saying that we have stopped media houses from broadcasting that. No. What we are saying is that they should not be able to broadcast live because of the kind of events that can happen.
The political season has not just been about the debate on how the media should cover political activities, but the role of the private sector in electoral matters. Safaricom has been on the receiving end, with opposition supporters boycotting its services, while others have been accused of destroying a base station in Kisumu County. The authority warns against such vandalism and says perpetrators will be dealt with.
These base stations, as you see them, might be hosting more than one player. Some of them now are hosting all the 3 players or 4 beyond, even the MVNOs. And by, destroying them, you are destroying all the services, not just singling out one person. Exactly.
CA says it is hastening the publication of a new law that will impose a life sentence on anyone who willingly damages critical communication infrastructure, given the losses and inconveniences suffered as a result. So far, 8 base stations, each worth 36 million shillings, have been destroyed across the country, most of them in acts of terrorism in the northeastern region. Andrew Ochieng, NTV.
And President Uhuru Kenyatta will take his oath of allegiance to be faithful to the Constitution as he undertakes his duties as President of the Republic of Kenya on Tuesday, 28th next week. And while that date is 5 days away, the Kenya Defence Forces conducted a full dress rehearsal this morning and yesterday morning also at the Moi International Stadium, Kasarani, where the Chief of Defence Forces, General Samson Muathethe, led the troops in making sure that all will be well on the big day. Leila Mohammed reports.
An officer of the four-legged kind, but an officer nonetheless, sniffs the turf and surroundings at the Kasarani Stadium. Security will be a key concern for the disciplined forces, who will be on hand to ensure the swearing-in ceremony for the Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defence Forces and President of the Republic of Kenya takes place without any trouble. Just as will be the case next Tuesday, the red tunic that is the ceremonial dress of the Kenya Army and the blue and white number 1 attire of the Kenya Air Force and the Kenya Navy will march out of this tunnel and take their place at the grounds of the stadium, ready to mount a guard of honor for not only their Commander-in-Chief, but the chief guest of the day. Looking into one direction, the troops align themselves into place as they await the arrival of the Chief of Defence Forces, General Samson Muathethe. Just like it will happen next week, the truck that will carry the president drove into the stadium and made a lap of honor before the Chief of Defence Forces, who was in the company of the Commander of the Kenya Army, Lieutenant General Robert Kibochi, alighted and took his place at the podium just in time for the national anthem to be played. A guard of honor for the Commander-in-Chief honored by the Chief of Defence Forces, who acknowledged the flag of the 9th Battalion Kenya Rifles of the Kenya Army that will lead the Navy and the Air Force troops in honoring President Kenyatta on Tuesday.
Lord, we place our President in your holy
In the presence of the Almighty, man sought the favor of the Creator for the good health of the leadership of the country, who will take oath of office of holding the reins in under 5 days. A mock swearing-in ceremony took place as government officials role-played, where the Chief Justice and the Head of State would take their place at the podium before administering the oath of allegiance.
And perform my functions in the office of the President.
In the midst of hazy times, the clarity of the ceremony ensued as the forces fired 2 shots from cannons outside the stadium to represent the 21-gun salute the forces will accord the Commander-in-Chief when he takes his oath of office. With fanfare and a hip-hip hurrah, the troops marched out of the stadium as the generals correct the few mistakes spotted. They hope to repeat the same in the few days to come until they get it right on D-Day. Just as will happen on Tuesday, the 28th of November this year, the Kenya Defence Forces is taking every step to ensure that on that day, the Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defence Forces is inaugurated without any hitches. Leila Mohammed, NTV, Nairobi.
And of course, the preparations continue today. President-designate Emmerson Mnangagwa, the former vice president and long-term confidant of the post-Zimbabwean leader Robert Mugabe, is set to return to Zimbabwe ahead of his swearing-in. Actually, he returned last night, which will be held tomorrow. Mnangagwa will take over from Mugabe, who has been president for 3 decades and will be president until 2018, when general elections are expected to be held, that is in September. Mugabe resigned on Tuesday evening, faced with imminent impeachment by Parliament, with his decision sparking celebrations across the country.
It's a new dawn in a country once described as African.
Bridget, what is the latest from where you are? Have the students gone back to school?
Yes, Ken. As of now, the calm has been restored here at the Laikipia Nakuru campus. And as you have mentioned, this was a riot or an unrest that was caused by the death of one of the students that occurred sometime last night. And he was hit by a matatu on the road. And so they decided that they're going to halt the movement of traffic along this important and vital road that, you know, the Nakuru-Nairobi Highway or the Nakuru-Kisumu Highway, for those cars that are going towards the western side of the country or going back to the capital city. But right now the students have been sort of quelled, and they have gone back to the school, within the vicinity of the school rather, and across the road the police are standing guard because we understand that the tensions are still here, and it's still a very sensitive situation because they are saying that this student was hit and he was not on the road, rather he was on the side of the road, and they feel that they are aggrieved and they do not want to have traffic move along this route properly because they are saying that the matatus are being driven badly. But the OCPD for Bondeni has been able to be here, and in the morning they did engage the students in running battles. They did throw some tear gas canisters to just push them back to the school. But right now they have gone back to school. I can see them in clusters still discussing the matter. So it's kind of a wait-and-see situation. We really don't know what's going to happen, but across the road the police are standing guard, and we do believe that maybe eventually by the end of the day this will be a matter that will be resolved, but either way we do not know what to call it as of now. So for now there is a stalemate because the police are on the other side of the road. The students are within the compound of the school and they are clustered in groups. So we don't know if they are regrouping to come back to the highway or they are literally going back to their class work and coursework. So Ken, that's what's happening so far, but traffic has been moving seamlessly since that fracas was sorted out by the police.
Right, Bridget, so we know it lasted about only 20 minutes, but tell us the kind of precaution that have been taken by the National Highway Authority, for example. I'm familiar with that road, and that area has no speed bumps, for example. Is this the reason why accident is so accident prone?
Yes, Ken, between this stretch, maybe from here to Soisambu, which is on the way to Naivasha, there isn't much of speed bumps or rather anything to regulate the speed with which vehicles approach this route. And so far, we have not seen anything from the national highways to show or indicate or even maybe a speed regulator on the side of the road that can say along this route use this much. But even where we are right now, Ken, within 50 or 100 meters between the entry to the school and also within this area, there isn't a bump. So maybe that is what was happening. And also there are no lights or lights to indicate that this is a school area. So maybe when it is dark, visibility is an issue. And also there are no paths or pedestrian paths, especially within the vicinity of the school entrance. So maybe this is the issue, or it is the beginning of a matter of a problem that needs to be addressed, because having an institution of higher learning here should dictate some regulations here and there, maybe speed bumps or anything. But you can see on the road right now that around this place, this is where the students tried to barricade it, and they even broke the windscreen of some of the cars. There's some debris or glass debris or cracked glasses on the road. So what we have, or what I can see, is a zebra crossing that has already, the paint has already faded, and so it isn't really a visible zebra crossing, and it's just about 30 meters from where I'm standing. Let me just move away from the road. Exactly where that lorry has passed, there is a pedestrian zebra crossing, but it's really not visible. It is very faded. On this other end of the road, there isn't a zebra crossing. So you can kind of see that there isn't much of precaution, rather, that is being put into place when it comes to the safety of the students coming here, because aside from the big entry point that shows this is a campus of a public institution, there isn't any other safety precaution, especially when it comes to road safety, that has been considered so far. And maybe this is a call maybe to the National Transport and Safety Authority, the Kenya National Highways Authority, and maybe the Ministry of Education to kind of come together and try and see how they're going to safeguard the lives of the students who, most of them are living in the hostels on that side of the road and on this side of the road. So even you can see some of them crossing back and forth. Ken?
Right, Bridget, finally, there is a bus stop right next to the entrance of the institution, but far away from the bus stop, I also noticed, owing to the fact that I'm familiar with that road, there is no stop sign or a bus stop sign just next to it. So unless that happens, this is most likely going to happen again, being that there's no indication at all that the vehicle should be slowing down. And also talk to us finally about where the student was hit by that car, because it said that he was not even standing on the road. He was besides the road. My assumption is he was probably waiting for a car.
Yeah, maybe he was waiting for a car. But right now, Ken, I'm seeing some of the students approaching us where we are standing at, and they're coming and they're like running towards us, and it's a huge number of them. I think maybe they want to speak to us, and maybe they want to maybe express their grievances. But apart from what you have just mentioned, that there isn't a speed bump, there isn't a bus stop sign, there isn't something to physically indicate that this is a section of the road that maybe road users, when they're approaching, should be exercising caution. And he was walking along this side. It's just an extended side of the road, and it's a few meters from where I'm standing, and it's a place where even matatus can use maybe to reduce their speed coming towards this side. But you can see the students are trying to approach us. It seems like they want to revive this demonstration once more across the road. The security officials are standing by. We do not know what is really going to happen, but here they are. They're coming in droves. I think they want to speak to us, and maybe we could get a clear picture of what really happened last night. And our deepest condolences to the students who passed on because of this pure road usage practices. But now they are coming here, they are angry. You can see some of them are running, and I think the demo is officially revived. And maybe you can listen to them, what they are saying. And that's what they are saying. Oh, habari yako? Just tell me your name, and maybe you can tell me what happened yesterday, and please try to maintain calm.
Sasa mimi naitwa Bruno. Jana kuna mwanafunzi amegongwa hapa. Akakufa hapo immediately. Lakini sasa tukaamka asubuhi tunataka bumps. Lakini hii maandamano iko successful bila tear gas.
Mimi nasema we need justice. No justice, no peace. They have to give us justice, and justice must be done. Why are they doing this to us? Hatukukuwa tumeleta hapa hivi distraction. We needed peaceful demonstration. Why is it that why are they using live bullets? Acha nikuambie, what the government has to do, they need to have to understand that we are students and we are fighting for our rights. These are left bullets there.
So what time that student amegongwa ilikuwa saa ngapi?
Student aligongwa 6 ikielekea 7. Dereva anatoka anauliza kama amekufa. Hiyo ni nini na anaenda? Amegongwa hapa. Anaangalia gari yake. We need our rights.
Alafu anapiga mama mwenye
anapiga
kwa nyumba yake. Hajakosea. Mama mwenye simu anabuzi anapigwa mbona.
So it's rather a tense situation right here, but we would like maybe to see if at all they are going to go back to the streets, but they are saying that this student was knocked while waiting for a matatu, and actually they've shown us the exact point at which they were knocked, and you could see that there's some dried blood on the road surface, and he was standing on the stage. Now we can confirm that this student was not walking or standing alongside of the road. He was waiting for a matatu, and unfortunately it is the matatu that he was waiting for that knocked him off the road.
All right, Bridget, thank you very much, and also keep safe keep off the road, and we'll definitely be checking with Bridget later on to understand what else happens if the students go back to the streets. Thank you very much, Bridget Ngana, reporting from Laikipia. That's Laikipia University, Nakuru campus. And let's bring this conversation back to studio now and discuss the state of the nation. It's only 5 days left before the inauguration ceremony of President Uhuru Kenyatta, and this is a high-stakes event. Security is already tight. We understand ahead of that event that will be held at the Moi Sports Stadium, Kasarani, there will be a lot of security. Several countries, according to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, have confirmed attendance, but there are still questions over what will happen because we know that NASA is also planning its own events. They are yet to communicate. But let's bring the conversation to Advocate Karanja Kabage, who joins us now, and Commissioner Abdirashid Abdullahi also joins us now. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us. Let's talk about the preparations of the swearing in. I'll begin with you, Advocate. Obviously, this is something that did not stop even during the court process. The swearing in was obviously being planned. Even on August 8th, it was being planned. Now, we understand that this is different from what happened in 2013. There's a lot of security ahead of that. There's a lot of security that is going to be deployed. And obviously, this owes to the fact that there's been a lot of instability in the country the last few weeks. Is it a justification to the kind of arrangement that the government is making right now?
Well, thank you, Ken. I think assumption of office is provided for under an act of parliament. And if there is one event that must be executed flawlessly, it is the swearing in of a president. Why? First, as expected, there will be international guests. They may be heads of state or heads of missions, and the country must exercise extra caution to ensure that the lives of those international guests, they are protected. Besides, there will be quite a number of people, Kenyans, and their lives too must be protected. Therefore, it is incumbent upon the security agencies of the country to ensure that an event of that nature, which is actually an international event, must of necessity be handled in a manner that not only it will give comfort to the guests, but also the Kenyans who will be the hosts. Number one host, of course, is going to be the president and his deputy and the Kenyans themselves. So it is not unexpected that extra caution must be exercised in this particular respect. Now, we must admit that this event is a little bit different from the one of 2013, because 2013, we did not have a fresh election that was held. And obviously, the one we're having has been long waited by the Kenyan people, because we need to enter into an arena of normalcy as far as the country is concerned. And one such event will be the swearing in of the president for the second term of office. That is something that is really important.
But we know this is not as an elaborate ceremony as the first one in 2013. He has all the instruments of power. This is basically a public ceremony. And the reason why it's public ceremony, it's supposed to be a celebration, sort of. Does the kind of arrangements that are being made undermine the aspect of celebrations?
First and foremost, we must always bear in mind that there are two things that must always be uppermost in the mind of organizers. One, protection of lives and property. But more importantly, is a conduct of that kind of a ceremony in a manner that befits an event of swearing in of a president. We don't swear president in every other day. We swear the president once every 5 years, according to our constitution. And therefore, I would say that they should always err on the side of caution.
Okay.
Because you cannot afford an incident, however minor it is.
Okay.
And of course, we also have to bear in mind there has been contestation by the NASA group as far as the elections are concerned.
I'd like to talk much about that, so yes. I'll just take... But Commissioner, looking at this event, it's high stakes. You have worked for the government, and the kind of arrangement that is being made, a lot of people are now questioning, does it justify the current situation? You know, if you have to make such a big issue out of the swearing in, which ideally should be celebrations, people should go there and have fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think every Kenyan knows that we have just been through a nightmarish electoral processes in terms of cost, in terms of lives and limb lost. It was costly. And therefore, at the end of the day, we have still a president. However, whichever way he came through in, either legitimately or illegitimately, we have a president. And the way forward right now is Kenyans have all the right to partake.
But Commissioner, we can't talk about the president coming in either legitimately or illegitimately. It can only be one.
Yes,
it can only be one.
Legitimately, okay, through the courts.
It can only be one.
He came in through the courts.
Yes.
And whether
through an election, not through the courts.
Well, for me, it's my opinion.
Election,
it's my opinion.
Yes.
And while he was elected by a section of the country.
Yes.
A section of the country. Remember, almost 2 provinces never or absconded the rerun or whatever it's called, the second election, presidential election.
Yes.
The repeat election. Yes. Some will argue there were elections there, some will not. But the problem is, the issue is we are in a very critical, divided nation. Right now, I wish that ceremony should be a turning point in which all Kenyans, whether you are pro this group or pro that group, whether everybody is brought on board in the bus to celebrate one nation, one country, and chart a way forward. The way it is now. And we don't have to put our heads in the sand like that bird. What is it called? Ostrich. Thank you. The reality is we are a divided country.
Okay, so is that the division? Is that the fear? Is that the fear? Because we have seen quite a number of demonstrations.
Yes.
Demonstrations might also be intended towards disrupting this event. And NASA has made it clear.
Yes.
Yes. So is this also a justification? Could that be the reason why such tight security needs to be employed on that day?
Well, it's justified in a way. To protect life and limb and property. As my elder Kabage has just said, it's justified. We don't want to lose any Kenyan life because of an election, because of a ceremony. You get my point?
But why should there be fear? That's what I want to understand.
The fear is a fear of the unknown.
Okay.
Unknown is that we are a country moving forward. Half of the nation is not carried along.
Okay.
And half of the nation wants to move forward.
All right. So the precaution, the precaution here is not only...
He's more experienced than me.
The precaution is not only about the president, who's swearing in for the second time might be interrupted by other elements. The precaution is also for the international image and the international visitors.
Yeah. First of all, I'd like to say that I don't quite agree with my brother Hussein here. When he talks about illegitimate or legitimate. Let's face it. When in September, on September 1st, the Supreme Court made determination that the elections that were held on 8th of August did not meet the threshold as provided for within the Constitution and the laws of the land, in its wisdom, determined that we must invoke Article 143, where fresh elections are to be held. Now, those elections were conducted according to the Constitution and the laws of the land, and no any other person or institution in the Republic of Kenya can pronounce itself than the Supreme Court of the Republic of Kenya. The Supreme Court of the Republic of Kenya last week, or this Monday, as a matter of fact, made determination that looking at the laws and the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya, the election that took place on the 26th of October were legitimate, and therefore the president was elected according to the Constitution.
It was affirmed. His election was affirmed.
Yes, you cannot introduce the issue of illegitimacy or otherwise. You cannot, unless you are not actually being honest with yourself. Because you see, political players are there, and they must contest elections whichever way they want to contest the elections. But in our Constitution, which we passed in 2010, is very clear that when there is a contest as to whether there has been valid election or not, the only body that makes that determination is the Supreme Court.
Yes.
So that is one thing we must always remember, because you see, we need to debunk the myth or the feeling that, yes, I don't agree with it, therefore it is illegitimate. That is not how our Constitution is. You may say, I don't agree that the elections were conducted according to rightly, but as far as the legitimacy is concerned, it's not in contest.
Yes. We need to move away from the topic of how President Uhuru Kenyatta was elected, because he was elected.
He was elected,
Uhuru Kenyatta was elected. Was elected. So maybe his argument was on the feelings of either side.
Look, we need to deal with this. You see,
the feelings.
If you look at international standards of elections, and that's the only thing you can go with, there is no country where you have elections which are not going to be pleasing to one group of people or and not pleasing to another group of people.
It must happen.
It has to happen.
It's a contest.
And it is a contest. And therefore, when people start saying, oh, we are divided, there is no time there will be no division. Even 100 years from today, there will be division when the election takes place.
But the division, the division should not polarize the country. The division should be on ideology. Do you agree with me?
You see, it's not necessary that it should be ideology. It's that people have feelings. I am supporting Ken to be my president, and I'll give it its all. Somebody else is supporting Mr. Hussein to be the president. Now, we, the players, you and him, may not even have the feelings, but those who support you, they have very strong feelings. Why? Their expectations. And it's not just an election of you or Mr. Hussein as a president. There are expectations. And those expectations, when they are dashed, then you have emotions that are invited. But it is not going not to happen. Let me give you an example. We had Hillary Clinton, who scored over 65 million votes. And Donald Trump scored 60.2. There was a difference of close to 4 million voters. All right? When that happened, obviously, more than 50% of the voters in America, they voted for Hillary Clinton. So you can now start saying that, yes, America is divided. It will always be divided. Why do you have elections?
Okay.
Unless we want to be like China. And even in China, it's just that they keep quiet. If you have one party, they just keep quiet. But there are some people who don't like it.
Okay.
So anybody's pretending that Kenyans are special, that they're not going to have differences, I think they're being disingenuous.
I'd like you to speak more speak more about the kind of division, because the kind of division that we are experiencing in the country is not the division based on the election outcome, but it's a division based on that election, not the outcome, because President Uhuru Kenyatta was validly elected, but it's not based on this outcome. It's based on how this election was conducted. That's the kind of division. I'd like to talk more about that with Commissioner Abdi and Karanja Kubage, but we first take a short break right here. When we come back, we still have a lot to talk about, including we'll be speaking to Brenda. There are celebrations currently underway, and we'll also go to Nyeri and speak to Melita Oletenges. We understand that President Uhuru Kenyatta should be visiting somewhere in that region. We We'll understand that from Melita Oletenges, and Brenda Wanga will be speaking to us in this hour, in the next hour, and we'll try and get something from Kisumu and Mombasa too. Stay with us. We'll be back with my guests right here on NTV Today. Right, welcome back to NTV Today. My name is Ken Mijungu. With me in studio is Advocate Karanja Kabage and former Commissioner Abdurashid Abdullahi. He was a commissioner at the commission of vetting of judges. He was also a commissioner at the Tunoi Tribunal and the committee of experts. And Karanja Kobage is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya and a businessman rather. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming. And let's continue this discussion. And I'd like to speak to you, Commissioner, about this division. This division, to many, does not stem from the election of President Uhuru Kenyatta on 26th of October, because that's not in dispute. He was validly elected and the court has affirmed it, right? So this division stems from the time leading to the election. And this is the reason why Kenyans are so divided, because this started before August 8th, after August 8th, after September 1st, the Supreme Court, and it went into October 26th. So this division that is causing all this jittery is this. It's not the division after 26th.
I think that this division is caused by a competition for resources. Resources in the sense that one tribe, and again, which is along the lines of tribe, and I didn't choose to belong to the Somali tribe. I didn't choose to belong to be from Garissa or him from Nakuru. But the point is, there's a lot of competition that results into these divisions, cutthroat competition for resources, for capturing state power in order to access those resources.
Okay.
And therefore, I think, unlike in Tanzania, unlike in other countries, or even in America, as my elder statesman here said, in America they have mechanisms where if the Republicans come into power, the Democrats have access to state resources through NDI, through various other, American national cake. They have access. The congressman who is a Democrat has access to state resources. The Democrat who is a governor has state access to resources, even if he's in the opposition. And the Republicans are in power. In Kenya, it's a winner takes all.
And that's where the problem is.
Yes.
That's where the problem is. But before I speak to him,
yes.
But this kind of competition is not exhibited at the top, as he said.
Yes.
It goes down to the people that we are now afraid of,
yes.
that might cause these commotions, might cause disruption, is a common mwananchi. It's not the people at the top.
Yes.
Yes, because they sit together and talk, right?
Well, the people at the, actually it's the way, it's the opposite. The people at the top brainwash, and you find that they convince the people at the very top, at the very low bottom.
Yes.
A Luo watchman or a Kikuyu watchman have no issues against each other. But at the top, the political class will use their positions in order to access power. They will use the common mwananchi.
So this is competition for
resources.
Part of the national cake.
The national
Then
cake.
the question now will be, how will this be addressed?
Okay. I think in the architecture of 2010 Constitution, if we cared to look at it very carefully, Chapter 11 of our Constitution talks about devolution. Now, this was intended to be the mechanism through which there will be no issue of so-called marginalization. Because if you look at the Commission for Revenue Allocation, and also look at the institution called the Senate, there are mechanisms there to provide for resources going directly to the respective counties. And we created 47 of them. And those 47 counties, if you really examine properly, it was one of the mechanisms that was intended to avoid the situation when there is money, we shall come and develop your area. Now that is gone. What is really important, and I would like to tell my fellow Kenyans, please, let us hold county governments to account. I'm afraid to say this. As I examine the county government, they are not performing to the optimum. A lot of them have become what you call employment exchange, to the extent that the money that is going to the counties, not much is being used for developing those counties. Therefore, the natural tendency is for people now to look at the national government.
Okay.
And I think for me, if we are going to have any amendment of the Constitution, one of the areas that we really need to examine is the Chapter 11 itself,
Okay.
and the subsequent laws that have come from there.
Hold your thought. I'd like to talk more about that, especially the fact that the county governments have not addressed this problem. And I also want you to weigh in the fact that there are people in Jubilee who have even suggested that the places that opposed President Uhuru Kenyatta should be denied part of those resources. I'd like to talk about that more. But we understand that President Kenyatta this morning is expected in Kirinyaga. Melita Oletenges now joins us live from Kirinyaga to explain to us what exactly this visit is about. It's actually the first public meeting after he was declared president on Monday by the court after his election was affirmed. Melita, good morning. If you can hear us right now, tell us, why is the president coming to Kirinyaga? What's happening down there?
A very good morning to you, Ken. We are at the Kirinyaga University grounds. This is where actually the president is expected to land anytime from now. And the reason for President Kenyatta visiting Kirinyaga County is that he will be conducting the groundbreaking ceremony for Thiba Dam, one of the projects which is a flagship embedded in the Vision 2030. And the president is expected to visit the location where the dam is expected to be constructed today and conduct the groundbreaking ceremony. Can remember Thiba Dam project had stalled for some time after the tender was awarded in the year 2015, but this project has stalled, and we understand that the president had attributed the stalling of the project due to wrangles that have been going on between leaders in the county. But Ken, the president is expected to land here, and what is happening at the moment is that we have dignitaries, leaders who have already arrived here, and of course security has been bolstered. We've also spotted the regional commissioner for the entire central region, Ann Ngetich, who's also arrived here. But Ken, for now, I'm going to be joined by the senator for Kirinyaga County. Senator, if you can just join me here, if you can just tell us, what does this particular project mean for the people of Kirinyaga County?
Thank you. I would want to say that this is a milestone for Kirinyaga County. It's long overdue. It will really boost the production of rice in this country, and to a larger extent into the country. On completion of the dam, it is expected that it will double the rice production from about 36,000 metric tons to about almost 68,000 metric tons. So it is a milestone for this county and for the country at large.
Senator, we understand that the project had stalled due to wrangles between the leadership of Kirinyaga County. What can you say that the leaders now have come together to make sure that this project is a success?
Yeah. We have come together as leaders, and we have said enough is enough. We cannot have leaders struggling or talking. We want to come together and be able to join hands and see Kirinyaga achieve the set goals, its vision.
Senator, also there was the issue of that many of the people who are living within the surrounding of the location of the dam, the expected location where the dam will be constructed, some of them have been compensated. What is the situation as at now?
It is not some of them. To the best of my ability, and we had a meeting yesterday and we deliberated that every person who was to be compensated have been compensated. Yes, indeed.
Thank you very much, Senator. Ken, as you've heard from the Senator, is that this project is expected to boost rice production here in Kirinyaga County. Remember, just next to Kirinyaga County also, we have the Moya irrigation scheme, and this is where rice production, actually rice farming is practiced largely, one of the areas which is rice production is practiced largely in the country. And what he's saying is that this particular project, Thiba Dam, through the construction of Thiba Dam, the water from the dam will be able to boost irrigation as far as rice farming is concerned. But Ken, for now, is that the president is expected to land here anytime from now, and we are still expecting the governor for Kirinyaga County, Ann Waiguru, to arrive here, and we will be keeping a tab on also what particular events that will be coming up out of this day or Ken. But for now, we are expecting the president to land, and we'll be keep bringing you up to speed with what is happening here in Kirinyaga County. Back to you, Ken.
All right, Melita, thank you very much. We're looking forward to your report later on. of the president's visit. Indeed, Thiba Dam has been controversial, generated a lot of heat, and finally it's being settled, and the president is doing the groundbreaking ceremony. We'll be linking back with Melita Oletenges as soon as we have the president on the ground. But first, before I come back to my guests, let's take you to Mombasa, where there's a joint meeting where the Health Ministry and Kenya Red Cross are currently meeting. Let's take you live and listen in.
Right, so ladies and gentlemen, let us all now break for about 15 minutes for tea, and tea will be served at Mr. Phil's Lounge, which is way down, like, way down as you go to the restaurant on your right. Thank you so much.
All right, that meeting is just taking a break as we go live there. We will definitely try and get as much information out of Mombasa as we can. We also understand that the other big story we're following, Golden Lane, the girl who topped this year's KCPE, is currently being feted by the Albinism Society of Kenya. And Brenda Wanga will be reporting live from there. We'll try and speak to Brenda as soon as we have also a signal from that location. But let me bring back the conversation here and let me speak to Commissioner. Commissioner, this division has resulted into some comments, wanted and unwanted. And one of the comments that we have gotten is that directing the national government not to send resources to the counties that are perceived as anti-government.
I think that's very wrong. We have one country called Kenya. We have one people called Kenyans. Kenyans. Whether you're a Luo or a Kuria or a Wariahe from where? Mandera. We cannot say, oh, that group did not vote for the president, then we should deny them resources. I think that's very unjustified. That's very unfair. That's very, you know, what do I say, selfish. All the resources of this country belong to all Kenyans.
But is that inequality, that kind of talk that you are mirroring?
It perpetuates, yes.
Saying that the division is as a result of a lack of division of this national cake, and then you hear leaders say that you should not devolve because they did not support the president.
I think that it will be so inhuman of them.
I don't know what you think.
Well, I think first and foremost, when the president swears in and takes the Bible, he says he will abide, uphold, and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya. That swearing in is not something that allows him or his government or his administration to discriminate against any person in the Republic of Kenya. First and foremost, the Constitution is very clear. It allows you to vote or not vote. But what the Constitution does not allow anybody to do is to discriminate against somebody, either by denying services or reducing services. This country is ours, wherever the boundaries of our republic is. There is no question that the president can say, I'm not going to develop this area or that area. If he did that, I can tell you I'll be the first person to say he is actually against the Constitution that he swore to defend. Now, individuals who are ignorant can make statements of that nature, which are in themselves demagoguery. They have no meaning. They don't have any basis on which you should be able to make it. And I do not believe that the president and his deputy will sit down and say, oh, this particular area did not vote for me, and therefore there will be denial of developmental support. That cannot happen and must not happen. And any Kenyan, I mean any Kenyan, must be totally opposed to that kind of a talk, leave alone a practice that can happen. Now, there is something else I wanted to say, and this is important. We are a country of close to 47 million people, say 45 million people. If you look at our gross national product, it is hardly $70 billion. Now, what does that mean? This country, which is 582,000 square kilometers, with a population of 45 million people, with incredible diversity of fauna and flora. How can we be producing such a small economy? Because when people talk about competition of resources, which I agree with my brother, what we really need to be addressing here is our capacity for production of enough goods and services. We must unlock the potential of every part of our republic and every individual. We must create opportunities where every Kenyan is productively employed. Because until such a time that we are able to produce an economy that is able to meet the needs of the Kenyan, it doesn't matter who you put in the State House.
The issues will still be the same.
It will be exactly the same.
But that's on the assumption that counties have almost equal kind of natural resources that they can use to
there can
create this wealth.
there can never be a time when there will be equality. And I'll give you an example. You yourself, I don't know how many you are in your family, but I can tell you, from my point of view, we were born 12 of us, from my mother, 12 of us. But we are so different. My mother and my father are the same, but we were born 12 of us. We are very different. There will never be a time there will be such a thing as equality of individuals or even counties. For example, if you take Turkana, which is 77,000 square kilometers, it has now enormous resources.
Oil, yeah, oil.
Of oil,
yes,
gas, and even water. Even to me, more importantly, water. The amount of water there is in Turkana is supposed to be able to support 720, to support Kenyan population for
about 77 years.
About 77 years.
Yes.
That is even more important than even the oil we are talking about. Because if today we determine that we're going to be an agricultural country,
okay,
our productivity will be such that we will be able to feed
our population. Now that you talk about agriculture,
yes.
In South Nyanza, the South Nyanza Sugar Company is about to be shut down, and obviously this means a lot for the farmers. Let me find out from our reporter on the ground, Bernard Ojuang, about South Nyanza Sugar Company. Bernard, we understand that the sugar industry, or the sugar factory, that is Sony Sugar Factory, is about to be shut down for routine maintenance. But of course, as expected, this will cause a lot of hue and cry from the farmers.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ken Mijungu. We are live here at Sony Sugar Company, where, as you've just said, Sony Sugar is currently preparing itself to pave ways for maintenance, which is expected to start come next month. And we managed to talk to the Sony Sugar MD earlier on, and they was saying that they are really facing a lot of challenges, such as cane poaching and even sugar importation, whereby they're accusing some of their competitors for importing sugar from outside and packaging them, selling them at a cheaper price. And they are also saying that that is really going to affect their operation. And currently we are joined by Sony Sugar MD Bernard Otieno just to tell us more about this. Bernard Otieno, welcome. It is being said that you are currently facing challenges of sugar import from outside the country and also cane poaching. Could you just elaborate on that?
Thank you very much, NTV, for giving us this opportunity, to share a bit of light and information about the situation of the state of affairs at South Nyanza Sugar Company. Indeed, at the moment, we are operating below 50% capacity, largely on account of the fact that we do not have adequate milling cane. There are a number of factors contributing to this shortage or unavailability of cane. One of them, the most significant one, obviously, is inadequate development of cane by some competing farms, competing private farms in the region, who have encroached into our contracted cane. Now, this subject has acquired all sorts of names. In some quarters, it's referred to as cane poaching. That factor has significantly eaten into our supply of cane. Under normal circumstances, had we not suffered the consequence of cane being diverted, contracted cane, in this particular case being diverted by private millers, we would have at this particular moment be operating significantly at above 7% capacity, and that is more or less the point at which we should be breaking even. As I've said in my opening statement, we are down at around 40%, but what are we doing about it? Consistently, we are still developing cane. We have increased by about 20% our earlier projections for cane development, just to assure that we'll have sustainable supply in the later part of the coming year.
When MD, you are also talking about the issue of sugar importation. Could you just elaborate? Is this affecting your production here?
True indeed. Some records that we have got from the industry regulator indicate that local production, as a consequence of inadequate cane, has dropped quite significantly. In one forum, it has been reported that the aggregated production is somewhere in the range of over 50,000 metric tons per month, against a monthly national demand of around 65,000. And the current levels are down to below 20,000. So naturally, the government, in response to this kind of situation, allowed sugar imports to bridge the gap so that the consuming public are not subjected to runaway prices, as Kenyans had become accustomed to or familiar at one particular stage. Maybe the point that we are looking at is probably going into the future, and this was a subject of a national sugar conference that was held in Kisumu sometime last week under the aegis of the Minister for Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries, in which a lot of things were discussed. The subject of sugar importation is going to come under control. The subject of regulating what one may call zoned areas or cane command areas to do away with this menace or this vice, of diversion of cane will also be controlled. Some form of levy will also be reintroduced. You are probably aware that before, cane being a capital-intensive undertaking and lacking a funding mechanism in the market, used to benefit quite a bit, from sugar development levy, but now under the new regulations, there's going to be a new levy.
Thank you, Ken Mijungu. That was Sony Sugar MD Bernard Otieno explaining how cane poaching has really affected them, affected their operation. As also is also talking about sugar importation, whereby some supermarkets are now packaging sugar from outside the country and selling them at a cheaper price. Back to you, Ken.
Right, Bernardo Joang reporting there from the county of Migori. Sony Sugar Company, I grew up next to that factory, and we know there's real commitment from several quarters, including the government, to revive traditional industries, especially in these zones that are traditional, like sugar in Migori and the rest. I'd like to talk more about that when we come back to that. But I understand in Mombasa at that health conference, Abbas Gulet is now speaking. Let's just listen in briefly.
Were the ones that were, normally where even because of the proximity of the distances and all that, the challenge and sparsely populated counties, of course, and very few health facilities, they were more affected. So we're saying we're trying to catch up with those ones. These ones in the major towns, Mombasa, Nairobi, Kisumu, Eldoret, Nakuru, Nyeri, there is private sector, they are private hospitals. So if they missed out on the public one, they could go to the private. But where the private is little or non-existent, then you can only go to government institution, government facilities. And that was the reason why we're giving this campaign more in those areas.
What's the danger of them not being vaccinated?
I said before, you can have polio, you can have measles, you can have other diseases that have been eradicated.
All right, we caught Abbas Gulet almost completing that interview straight from that meeting where the Ministry of Health, together with other stakeholders in the health industry, are meeting in Mombasa. Peter Mwangangi will be reporting from Mombasa, so you will not miss anything. You'll know exactly what that conference is about. But with me in studio is Karanji Kabagi, an advocate of the High Court, and Abdul Rashid Abdullahi, who is a former commissioner. 3 commissions he has sat on them, and including the Commission of Experts to Know Tribunal, and of course the vetting of judges. Let's conclude this discussion because we still have a lot to talk about. And Karanji, I'd like you to conclude on this before I give Commissioner a chance to talk about the division of resources and the commitment to revive traditional industries in these regions, because that is also the only way, one of the ways of ensuring autonomy and the fact that this will also bring jobs to those areas.
Well, it goes without saying that agriculture is a very key part of our national and economic life of this country. And I think looked at from a macro perspective, it is incumbent upon both the county and national government in their mandate to cooperate and work together to ensure that in those areas where you have, for example, Sony Sugar Company, it employs a lot of people. It's an economic life of the people. You can go to other areas where you can find there is also rice growing, there is wheat growing, there is pyrethrum that has gone down. And that's why, personally, I'm very supportive of this idea of having these dams in various areas to ensure that we create what we call not rain-fed agriculture, but also irrigation as a mechanism of making sure that we are self-sufficient. And this is really important. I was very happy when I saw in Kitui, a major dam is coming up there. We have another major dam in the area of Molo that is coming up, Crusoe areas. We have other dams like the one we have seen of Kirinyaga. We have other dams that are being worked on. We also have got the Garana irrigation area. I mean, we must put not only investment, but we must also encourage training of our people to believe that agriculture is a key sector of our country. And that's very, very important. Because we can employ very many people there. We can feed our people. We can export produce. We can do so many things with agriculture.
In the local areas. Yeah. If you listen to what he's saying and you look at your community, for example, there are various regions that are disadvantaged. They are starting from a disadvantaged place before they try to compete places like he mentioned, like Moya irrigation scheme and all those areas. They are definitely, you are definitely disadvantaged when you look at how the decentralization of resources are going to be spread across this country. I'd like you to comment about that, but you know, it's the exams were released, and obviously there are a lot of celebrations. And there's this girl, Godolin, I know you all celebrate her, and the Albinism Society of Kenya have decided to feed her and celebrate her. And now we have the live pictures. Isaac Mwaura, nominated member of parliament there. Godolin came to Nairobi yesterday. She is from Kakamega. Let's just listen in before we get back to our discussion. Our crew is on that celebration trail, and as soon as we have them, because we understand Isaac Mwaura will be speaking together with the other officials of the Albinism Society of Kenya along Wayaki Way will definitely be going back there. But it's celebrations in honor of the girl who led the country. She had 455. The next person had 9 marks less than that girl. Yeah, I think she did really well. And out of the top 20, there's several girls. Man, I don't know where the boy child is. But we'll be going right there. Those are the live pictures. We'll keep it on a split screen. As soon as they begin speaking, we'll go back to them. But I was asking you, Commissioner, looking at your region, you're disadvantaged. You're beginning from a position of disadvantage. And when you hear decentralization of resources, what resources are we decentralizing, for example?
First, I want to commend my elder here for pointing out that Kenya has a diversified flora and fauna, where Northeastern is a semi-desert area, where the rains are scarce throughout the year, and the lifestyle there is nomadic pastoralism, which itself right now is endangered. You remember what happened in Laikipia,
the shooting
where
of the
the shooting of those livestock, which is the actually livelihood of the people, of our people. The best thing to do and the way forward for the government is, as he said, to dam Tana River, which is just passes through Garissa town. And also,
is it a seasonal river?
It's a permanent river that emanates from Mount Kenya.
Okay.
So we are really reliant on the people of Mount Kenya, so that they start planting trees in Mount Kenya, so that people downstream can really have access to water. That's one. And then Mandera town also has River Dawa. It can be dammed. It just goes to west into Somalia without any use for the local people in Mandera. So those are the two major water systems we have. And then underground water is readily available from Turkana, and it can be piped into the rest of Northeastern, and we can start irrigation large scale. Israel is doing it. Okay. Why can't we not?
So it's possible even in your region. Yes.
Yeah, we have a high potential of vast large scale irrigation in Northeastern.
All right. Yes. I'd like to talk more about that, and on your screen you can see Golden Lane and the Albinism Society. They are setting up for that press conference. As soon as they begin, we'll be taking it live. But gentlemen, I'd like to talk about one factor that has to be considered when we speak about this. The fact that there are quarters in this country that are now talking about cessation, how practical that is. I've also like you to weigh into the fact that even after the swearing in, the kind of energy that President Uhuru Kenyatta have is the same challenge that Raila Odinga would have as soon as, if at all, he was going to be sworn in. So let's take you live to the venue of that celebration. We'll be coming back to speak more about that.
As parents of children with albinism, we want to thank you because of the fact that you have brought her. And we know that this is a milestone that we have just climbed as the community and the caregivers of persons with albinism. So Lord, throughout this whole occasion, we pray that you be present. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
So you can turn to your neighbor and just give your neighbor a high five. So you can dance. It's just a high five. And tell them you're don't ask, just don't stare, just ask. Don't stare, ask. Don't stare, ask. So we're really privileged to have our guests of honor and their parents. Thank you so much for honoring us and coming for this meeting. And as Albinism Society of Kenya, we've really been doing advocacy on matters to do with albinism. We've been creating awareness, and we're really happy that this has happened to at least one of us has been able to emerge the top in KCP. And I'm going to give a few speeches. It's not going to take long. It's going to take a short time. And as the first speech will come from Lois Lihanda. Lois Lihanda is our she's our Miss Albinism Kenya 2016. We've not had one this year, but she still retains the seat of Miss Albinism. So we're going to give her the privilege to just come and say congratulations message to our guest of honor. Lois.
My name is Lois Lihanda, as you've heard, and I'm so privileged to be here. I thank you all for the invitation and for coming here. Mine is just to congratulate Golden. You've really made us proud. I'm so proud of you. And I know that this is going to change people's mentality about with albinism, that you can make it. Yes, and this is to encourage every student with albinism that they can make it. Golden has set the pace, and we know that all of them are going to follow her. Yeah. So Golden, congratulations, and continue with the same spirit. I know you're going to go far. Thank you.
Thank you, Lois Lihanda. She's the Miss Albinism Kenya 2016, and she's still holding the title. The next person who is going to give a small congratulatory message is going to be our programs officer, Dan Omeno. Let's appreciate him.
Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon once again. Good afternoon. Morning. I'm happy until I feel like it's good afternoon. Okay. First, I'd like to thank our national coordinator, Honorable Isaac Maura, for the good work he is doing concerning persons with disability in general. When we see us gathering here today, I say it's an honor. I say that God has done marvelous. Praise God. Amen. Praise God. Amen. Yes. When I just give a brief history of myself. When I was growing up, like a child, like any other child, but having albinism, in our village, I was not recognized. But because of me not being recognized in the society, I was not able. In fact, even my family or my relatives by then would not appreciate me. But despite that, I'm here where I am. I still thank God for the far that I have come, because I didn't look at myself as a person with albinism, but I look myself as a person who can make it in life. When I look at my sister here, Gordalin, I'm proud of her because he has done marvelous to us. He has done marvelous because it is not something that we were expecting, that from this minority group we can bring out a child who will be known to the whole world. But at this moment, I appreciate and I thank God because of her, and we are privileged to be with her this morning. And I would like to say thank you to all of you who have come to celebrate with us. I would like to say thank you to our national coordinator, Honorable Isaac Maura, for the good work he's doing to make sure that any child with disability, any child who can make in life, he is able to reach her dream or his dream. Lastly, what I'd like to say is that as a Albinism Society of Kenya, we are going to stand with our sister in any way that she will need our support. We will ensure that wherever she will be in school, we are there. We will be communicating with the parents and know that if there is any problem, any need arose, we will be there as a society. So I don't want to go into much because I know because of time. I'd like to say thank you once again, and Godalin, thank you very much.
Let's appreciate Dan once again. This chance I'm going to give to a person who is representing National Council for People with Disability, and that is Alex Munyeri. Let's appreciate Alex.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. My name, yes? All right. Okay, thank you. My name is Alex Munyere, as you've been told. And if there is anybody who is happy today, it is none other than Alex Munyere. Goldaline, you don't know what you have done to some of us. Some of us who have struggled with this albinism awareness for the last decade with Mheshimiwa Daktari Mwaura, and all of the others, we have really struggled, and today we can celebrate because, hello? Because, Goldaline, you've put us on the world map, and this is really something to celebrate. When, by the way, those who may not know me, I am the founder chair of Albinism Society of Kenya. We founded this society together with Mwaura. Dr. Mwaura was a student by then at University of Nairobi, Kenyatta University. We founded the society, and it was a struggle for us to hold an awareness and call one media station. Tulikuwa tuna celebrate na mheshimiwa mpaka usiku. Right now, Goldaline, can you see how many cameras we have here? It is wonderful. And I can now comfortably, I don't want to say some prophetic words here, but I can now say like what Simon, anybody who knows Simon in the Bible? Yes. Who was holding Jesus and said, akasema Simeoni, nitakwenda kwa amani, nina mwanga mkononi, Yesu mwanga wa dunia. So I am comfortably saying, now that Goldaline and her age mates have come in, I am now handing over the mantle to Goldaline and the rest, and now I can comfortably sit and watch. Yes. Goldaline, we are really proud of you.
Thank you.
From where I come from, the National Council for Persons with Disabilities, I had a program for persons with albinism. And believe you me, together with other stakeholders, we are going to stand with Baba Goldaline and Goldaline up to wherever God will take us through. And this one is a promise I'm giving from deep my heart. Thank you.
Let's appreciate Alex. At this chance, I'm going to give to one of our mom, who is also a principal at Castle Academy Rwaka, and she's representing the private schools, and she's going to give her also congratulations message, and then she's going to invite Senator Mwaura, who is in charge, who is representing people with disabilities in the Senate. So,
Saseni.
Hi.
Hi. Teacher can use every language. Salam alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
I'm Grace Gadoniwa Shege, and I come from Rwaka. I'm a principal in a school called Castle Academy, and I want to encourage our beautiful girl here that one day I didn't know that I would become a principal in a school. Actually, this is my 18th year as a principal. I'm not still young, eh? I'm approaching my 50s. So, thank God. Now, one thing I want to say. I've been having advocacy about integration of children with disabilities in our private schools. Because sometimes the private schools, maybe there before, they were not, handling children with disabilities, because they thought when these children come to their schools, they would be, they would be disadvantaged, and maybe even some parents would pull their children out of the school. But today, as private schools, we are embracing the children with disabilities, like where I am in Rwaka Castle Academy. We have quite a number of them. Mheshimiwa Mwaura is aware of that. And we have integrated them, and they are lovely, and they make the institutions very lively. So even as we celebrate our golden girl, I can say that to the private schools who are listening to us, who are hearing us, let's embrace children even with disability. You never know. This school that had this young girl, they never knew at the beginning when she was admitted there, mom, whether she would come, she would emerge the best girl in the Republic of Kenya. As we celebrate. So even as we are celebrating her today, I am proud to be in the private school. You know, as a principal in the private school, I'm celebrating this because it's also a product of the private school. So congratulations even to those schools that have embraced. So many people, Mheshimiwa, many schools have been, you know, have been taking this as a public school kind of job. But I want to assure you that now I'm doing the advocacy, plus others who are not here, that even the private schools can embrace people with all sorts of disabilities, maybe albinism, maybe, you know, the physically challenged or whichever kind of, you know, disability they could be having, autism, and so on. And you never know what they do. Now this girl has brought her school to the map of this republic. Amen. And so they didn't know, but now you can see. So thank you so much, and I want to pass the congratulations message to you from the Kenya Kindergarten Association and the Kenya Private Schools Association. Many of them have sent their regards to you, and congratulations.
Thank you.
And now I feel humbled to welcome Mheshimiwa Senator Mwaura. Daktari, karibu sana.
Asante. Don't just stare. Don't just stare. Tuliwahi kufikiria tutakuwa na mwenzetu ambaye atakuwa bingwa Kenya nzima. Tupige kelele ya zajangwe. When we started this journey, it was so difficult. We started it here. Then people like Dr. Choksi joined us, Mombi Goge joined us. Today, we are here to celebrate the fruits of our awareness creation of embracing people with albinism in this country.
Amen. Yes.
When we started with Alex here, because this has been my bosom friend, he was the chair, I was the vice chair. I was a student at KU that time. Sometimes we would even cry. We didn't even have money to register the society. We were wondering whether one day we'll get free sunscreen lotion to people with albinism. We were wondering whether we will ever see many people with albinism get degrees. Today we are here, not only to say that that has happened, but we have the future with us here. This girl can be anything in this world, including the president of this republic. She is extremely articulate, she is focused, and we can never be more than proud. And we really want to thank Citizen TV because I'm told we are also live. So this is wonderful. So I'm not going to make a lot of remarks. For us, we are very, very happy. We are only here to appreciate. We have a small check that we want to give to this little girl. Wow. We also have a cake that we want to cut here. And also, just for the record, we have approached M-Pesa Academy so that this girl can be taken fully on scholarship by that school. M-Pesa Academy is an international school. The Albinism of Kenya, those of you who are here, we visited the school, I think last year, and we were very impressed, isn't it? We were very impressed by what is happening there. The other kids with albinism there, and I believe she will also be #1 4 years later. Amen. Yes. So because of time, allow me to give the opportunity to the mother to speak and the dad, and then our guest of honor will address us. Indio? Yes. I also want to recognize our national treasurer, Lydia Mugore. Raise up your hand, please. She will also close with a vote of thanks and prayers. Okay? So, mama, njoo uzamguzia watu taka kidogo, useme ulilea huyu mtoto namna gani. Na hiyo keki ikuja bwana, na hiyo cheki. Ziko huko.
My fellow parents with children with albinism, our Honorable Senator Mwaura, everyone here, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Sorry, good morning. Good morning. Okay, I want to say I'm happy, I'm humbled to be here this morning. I want to say I really appreciate for what has happened. Goldaline is a child born with albinism. Albinism is not a disease, it is a condition. And I just want to say such children are normal. Their brain is just normal like any other. The only challenge that these children with albinism go through is the skin condition. Just because they lack melanin, which finally affects their sight, and that is why they are short-sighted, should not make people really look down upon them. The performance of Goldaline has really humbled us as her parents. She has been good in class since she started school. We expected good results from her, but we did not know that she would actually she would emerge as the best student in KCPE. That is for both boys and girls. That is overall best student. I must say we are happy. We thank God for her and for doing this. I know she has passed across a message to everyone out there who is looking down upon children with albinism or any other disability and looking at them like they cannot do much. Ni watu tu wa kusaidiwa. I think Goldaline has proved that if given an opportunity, like any other child, if given that love, they can perform, they can bring out their best potential. I know that parents with children who have children with albinism or any other disability, they face many challenges in the society. People look at them and it's like there is something wrong with them. Why do they have children of this kind? But you know, everything, God has a plan. So I'll not say much. I just want to thank all of you and appreciate all of you for wanting to celebrate this girl today. Thank you.
Let's have the dad now.
Thank you very much. I want to take this opportunity to thank the Almighty God for the love He has for my family. I want to also take this opportunity to thank Honorable Mwaura for giving me this privilege with my child to celebrate her sterling performance. I didn't know I would get such an opportunity in life to be on media, to meet people who are happy with my family the way they are today. I want to say thanks to the Lord. My daughter was born on 20th of April 2003 in Kakamega Hospital. So when I went to see them in hospital, I found my wife was very tense, wondering how the husband would react for giving birth to a child with albinism. But when I went there, they had even prepared the counselors there to come and counsel me. But I'm formerly a teacher of science. I was teaching biology and agriculture in high school. So I knew a lot of genetics. So I went there and I was shown my daughter. I felt I had got gold. I impressed my wife and I was very happy to receive my child from the womb to this world. So from that time, I've given my daughter love. I have given my family love. We have stayed together as a team to nurture our child. We have given her the necessary support a child can get from the parents. Initially, we wanted to take her to a school where she could have others of the same color. But we thought this is not, she's not unable in doing anything. She's able. She's just like others. The only difference is that she's white.
Yes.
So we said, as parents, we have the ability and the capacity to take care of this child. Why can't we look for a good school where they can integrate her in the system and have very good teachers and children who will accept her the way she is? And God opened for us a way, and we found St. Anne Junior School in Lubao. And that is where she joined from ECD up to class 8. That school has really helped me in taking care of my child, the teachers, the parents of the same school, the directors of the school were more than the parents, even than me. I'm working with a sugar company, and we are in business. And when you are working for a company that is doing business, you get engaged most of the time. So most of the time, my child has been with the teachers, has been with the fellow students and the friends, and they have given her the love which has helped her to perform the way she performed. So I take this opportunity to thank the school for helping me in raising this child. I take this opportunity to thank my employer. Most of the time I used to borrow the vehicle to go to school to see how he's performing, talk to the teachers, and at no time did they refuse to give me permission. I'm very happy, I'm very humbled. As far as this performance is concerned, we knew my daughter has been very consistent in performance in school. We knew she would pass the exam, but not as high as she did this time. So when she topped up the nation, I had just sneaked out of the office to the house to watch TV. I wanted to see, could she be amongst those ones, not the topmost girl, but could she be amongst those that have performed well? So I was seeing people's names screening on the TV, but my daughter's name was not featuring. So I felt maybe, was it what happened? She must have, maybe she lost. So I decided to close the TV, and I was going back to the office when I received a call from my wife, and she told me that our daughter had topped up. I even failed how to express myself. People just saw me smiling, walking in a different style. I'm not walking. So when I went to the office and I was looking at everybody, smiling, and they were wondering, Tanga, what is the problem? I said, my daughter has just done marvelous, and I'm very happy. And I talked to my employer because I wanted to go to the school and celebrate together with the fellow students and teachers to give me a vehicle. And the employer readily gave me a vehicle to the school. I went to the road. My daughter was traveling from the grandmother's home. We were waiting anxiously for her on the road, and she was not even arriving. Unfortunately, on the road, there was a lolota carrying a grader on the road, and that, what we call it, the plate could not allow other vehicles to pass. We had a jam there. So when she arrived, the media group took her. I was not able to follow them. I changed the route to follow them up again, up the school. And I want to thank God for everything. I want to encourage everybody that has any kind of impairment. That does not mean that you are not normal like others. Once you accept the way you are, once you cultivate on the self-esteem, then you can be excellent. I want to also tell parents of children with albinism or any other kind of disability, don't hide these children. Had I hidden my child, I wouldn't be appearing on media and meeting people like this. I have other children who have melanin and have the skin like mine. They have not brought me here. Although they have also performed well, but not as excellent as my daughter. So she has brought me here. She has made me meet very wonderful people. I have met Honorable Maura, who has been an inspiration of my daughter. I want to thank the Dr. Choksi. She came into our life and she met my daughter. She became the mother to my daughter, and she has been helping us financial support in raising this child. I want to say thank you to Daktari. I want to thank the school and everybody else that have given us support in this journey. Otherwise, I don't know how to say it, but thank you very much.
Makofi. By the way, Baba Golda was a classmate to the deputy president. So I'm sure it would be good to know that we have the deputy president, but this year also you have produced the best student in the country. So that's important, from 5 and 6. Now, can we bring our hands together for this beautiful young girl to address us? Hiyo ni makofi kweli.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Lois. First and foremost, I'd like to take this chance to thank God for what He's done. This is so great. His grace is boundless. I'm grateful to God. Two, I appreciate what you've done. Your family, you've stood out for me and you've been with me all the way. You've stood with me, you've held my hand, you've organized this. Thank you so much. Mad love, mad love. And today, I don't want us to celebrate me, okay? I know that's the main thing, but I just don't want us to celebrate me alone. I want us to celebrate albinism. I want us to celebrate us, the people we are. When I walked in, I saw this young girl from behind. Alikuwa anakaa tu mzungu, and we are the Kenyan wazungu, si ndio? Yes. What's the name of that girl with the yellow top?
Charlene.
Charlene,
come over here. Come over here.
Yes, kuja Charlene.
Karibia hapa.
Good.
Mambo.
Child here for your birthday. Good. Now we can talk.
Come on, just take a look at these kids. They're so cute. Sindio? They're very beautiful kids. Kidogo nifike hapa kwa mic. Sindio? They're so beautiful, and I'm proud that as the Albinism Society of Kenya has stood with us, imetupigania sana, and because of the sunscreen and all the help they're giving us, these kids are here. Sindio? Sindio? These glasses, I'm wearing them courtesy of ASK. That is when they took us to... It was in yeah. So thank you so much for your support. Thank you for fighting for our rights. Thank you for representing us here in Kenya. And we know that this albinism society is going to get far. We're going to spread our wings. We're going to spread our wings and reach out to all those who have not yet been reached out to. Sindio? Yes, I know that there are some places where bado illiteracy is trending. They're still in the dark. Bado ajona the light. They have not yet realized how precious we are. Sindio? Hawajatujua bado, isn't it? But with the help of God, najua He will help us get there. He'll help us spread our wings and fly higher. Sindio? I'm so honored to be here. I was emotional momentarily, and thank you so much. Thank you. This family, this albinism, we're celebrating albinism, sindio? Yes. I'm so happy. I remember the first time Mom showed me a photo of Judge Mumbi on a newspaper, and I was like, wow, kumbuko ndo tunaweza fika. You see, growing up indoors, ile ukitoka nje, the society wanakuangalia, people are staring, watoto wana whisper, inakuwa irritating. So nika grow up indoors, but once I realized there are people like us, when you're wamefika juu already, there are people like us who are standing out, who are confident. That's when I gained my confidence and stood up for myself. Shule mimi nimesomea St. Anne's. I'm also there with my little brother. Uko na miaka ngapi? 5. You're 5? Oh, my brother is 8. To hook up. So, that's the school my brother is also attending. And in the school, I would rarely pay attention to my skin condition because they really talked about albinism, because they had accepted me as one of them. story utapata tunaongea, it is just all of us. Such love from the teachers, from the directors, from my friends. It was so amazing studying there. Hata kama ningekuwa na chance ningebaki tu nisimalize class 8. But God knows why I completed primary school. Sindio? This is to all people with albinism. We are one. You see, when you're staying in a place, ni kama when you're staying somewhere yenye kila mtu ameshuka alafu wewe peke yako ndo umenyoa. Para kabisa ina shine. It feels awkward, si ndio? But right now we have so many of us wamejitokeza, they are no longer hiding. We are out there. We are fighting for our rights. We are confident enough. We are standing for ourselves. This is an achievement. And and this to ASK, this to the chairman, the National Council, yeah. This is to Mheshimiwa. This is to all of you. We are family, and together we are going to rise. Together tutakuwa hata labda maybe in Kenya utapata the highest percentage ni watu wako na disabilities in parliament. We hope to get there, and with God tutafika huko, si ndio? Thank you so much. Last year when I just watched a brief episode of just a short video of the Mr. and Miss Albinism competition. Sindio? It was last year, sindio? So when I watched that, we see people tell me, shule watu walikuwa wananiambia eti Golda, ukikuwa tu mkubwa usikae hapa Kenya. Usikae hapa Kenya, uenda tu kae huko America, enda tu kae huko Europe. And it is so motivating seeing that we've taken such a huge leap. We've begun this journey together. To Louis and Mr. Albinism, to Lois na Mr. Albinism, congratulations. Though imekuja late, but we are going somewhere. We are going, because right now we have such competition. We have World Albinism Day. We have all those. We are going somewhere. Thank you so much for organizing this. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Makofi tena. Yeah, it's good to just put things on record that really we are very proud that, you know, this beautiful girl called Lois. Lois, simama tena banda tukuone. Sio nikipusa huyo. Sasa you may be the next Miss Albinism in 20 something. Thank you very much, Lois. Now, it's time to cut the cake. But before we do cut the cake, we want to present a check, a small token. The Albinism Society of Kenya is a charity organization. We have a program called Imarisha Masomo Program. We anticipate that the government, through the National Council, and Alex is here, and also the M-Pesa Academy, through them, we'll have full scholarship for our little girl Golden. Sindio? Sasa hiyo si tumechukulia hapo. And we are still asking for many well-wishers to support her, isn't it? Because yeah, those are the ones. We've just come from meeting some people also who have given a 5-day holiday to the family. You know, bonfire adventures. And I'm sure many others will come on board. After this, we'll go see the Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Ken Lusaka. For us as a family, to appreciate you, we have a check of 100,000 shillings. Wow! So, tupatiane hiyo check. Ma'am, karibia hapa. Wacha hiyo simu, tutakupatia picha yenyewe rasmi. Picha rasmi. Here, tushike hivi. Haya. Ndio hiyo. Sijui kamera zinaona vizuri. Tunamzika.
Mtainuka juu.
Sawa. Figa inaonekana na Albinism Society inaonekana.
Iko sawa? Great, thank you. You're done? Not yet? Okay, sorry.
Ama baba ndiye angekuja katikati.
Okay, sawa. Uko sawa? Haya. Now, unajua? Sorry. Okay, sawa. Watu wa camera, the real camera. Hiyo ingine ni video. Ama ni drama. Thank you. Beautiful. Here. Now, there are people who give these checks and they don't honor their promise. Ndio? Sio vizuri kudanganya watu kwa cheki za nini? Pesa ndio hii. Wewe mtoto shika hapa. Shika mama hapo. Si ndio hiyo?
Simona wote. Anadanganya.
Unajua kuna wakati tulikuwa na nakumbuka Kenya one Kenya. People promised and then they didn't deliver. So now with the help of Mercy and Kate and Lois, please come here as a Miss Albinism. Njooni sasa tukate hii keki. Kuja utusomee, wacha nikae hapa ndio karibie hapo.
Kata usiogope. Kata mwanangu kata.
Imeandikwa namna gani?
Congratulations, Goldaline Kakuya.
Wonderful.
That name Kakuya. The name Kakuya was my great grandma's nickname. Alikuwa na this skin condition. Yeah.
So Lois, I think just come and help us. Wacha watoto kidogo. Ndio hiyo kisu hapo. Basi. Mary, where is Mary?
Lois, where is your crown? You should have come with your crown. Ndio hiyo kisu.
Sasa.
Haya, kata sasa.
Haya, shangilieni.
Haya. Mwanambeli meshikwero. 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 Mwanambeli ayaya mwanambeli meshikwero. Mwanambeli ayaya mwanambeli meshikwero. Lois, mtakie hiyo kubwa. Lois. Ndio.
All right, we take a break from that befitting ceremony, Goldaline Kakuya, being feted by the Albinism Society of Kenya, obviously for her stunning performance in the last year's KCPE exams, and for obvious reasons, very elaborate ceremony there. And they're not the only ones. There's a lot of organizations and individuals who've come out to support Goldaline. Brenda Wanga will be telling us her story later on in the course of the day and in our subsequent bulletins. We take a short break right here on NTV Today. We won't forget that I have guests in studio. We'll come back and conclude our discussion, and obviously we'll have business and sports also in the next hour. Stay with us. All right, welcome back to NTV Today. My name is Ken Mijungu. This is the final leg. In this hour, we'll have business, we'll have sports, and also an opportunity to conclude our discussion here with my two guests, Karanja Kabage and Abdirashid Abdullahi, who is a former commissioner. And let's talk about, first, very briefly, the talk, now that we've put into context the value of remaining together. Let's talk about the call for cessation in this country. Is it practical? I'd like to begin with you, Wakili.
Yeah, first of all, let me just add my congratulations to
Goldeline
Gakuya, because she is really a role model. And I wish her all the best. And she has made not only the albino community proud, but every Kenyan for her performance. She's not the first girl. She is the Kenyan #1 student as far as KCP is concerned.
Yes.
Congratulations. Now, the question that you are posing regarding secession, I think I would like to address it in the following way. First, in our Constitution, Chapter 1 on sovereignty of the people and the supremacy of the Constitution, there are 3 things that are most important. One of them is the supremacy, is the sovereignty, supremacy, and the defense of the Constitution. Sub-Article 3. Sub-Article 3 has 2 sections. One of them says that every Kenyan has an obligation to defend this Constitution. Secondly, it says that no government that can be instituted other than in accordance with this Constitution. Now, if you want, for example, to secede, actually our Constitution is very clear. If you go to Chapter 16, Article 255 of the Constitution lays down what things can be challenged through a referendum. And one of those is the territory of Kenya. So if we want to do anything that has to do with affecting the territory of Kenya, then there has to be a referendum. That referendum can come in 2 forms. What is called parliamentary system, parliamentary initiative, or popular initiative. And that is what is laid out there very clearly. It's a very elaborate system. So this talk that you're hearing being spoken is what you can call pedestrian talk. Because if anybody wants to actually begin talking about secession, they should understand it is an insurmountable challenge. An insurmountable challenge. It will require such participation of the Kenyan people. Just as an example, it will require that at least 24 of the 47 counties must vote yes to that. After county assemblies of the 24 counties. Secondly, it will require at least 50% plus of Kenyans to be able to say yes. But even more importantly, it is also going to require at least 20% of registered voters, not those who will vote, registered voters, to be able to say yes, that we go for secession. So anybody entertaining the thought of that you can dismember or dismantle the Kenyan territory, first I would like to invite them to visit Chapter 16 of our Constitution and read very carefully Article 255, Article 256, and Article 257.
Okay, now that you're on this, talk to us before I speak to Commissioner here. The place of exercising the people's authority directly and not as donated by the Constitution.
No, I think that first of all there is a very serious misunderstanding. If you look at Chapter 1 of the Constitution, on the sovereignty of the people and the supremacy of the Constitution, it says the following, that this authority, the authority as far as this Constitution is concerned, is by the Kenyan people or their representative. It does not say it is by the Kenyan people and or. This is very, very important for people to understand, make a distinction. And now when it says all, it says the following are the institutions that can exercise that sovereignty of the people. And this is the national government, okay? the county government, and the judiciary. Those are the three institutions that now are allowed by the Constitution. You cannot now start saying that you can go through it, you can do so through the People's Assembly. Because then it also means you cannot have the People's Assembly as being suggested by the proponent of that, and at the same time you have these other structures of the national government and the county government. Okay, that is the executive branch of national government and the executive branch of the county government. Then you have the National Assembly and the Senate, and then you have the judiciary. Okay. You cannot have the two of them.
At the same time.
Yeah, at the same time. So one has to be very clear. The framers of the Constitution did not leave a lacuna to provide that this institution must be bypassed so that now you can have the so-called People's Assembly.
Talk to us about 4.
4.
Yes.
Yes,
you've spoken about 1, you've spoken about 2,
yes,
and you're speaking right now about 3,
yes,
where the Constitution donates this power.
Yes.
But it says also the sovereignty of the people shall be exercised either through at the national level or at the county level. What they're doing, they're going at the county level to exercise that sovereignty in one.
No, well, you see, if you read it very clearly, it says, who are the people that should exercise this sovereignty? Just read there.
The leaders.
Yeah.
Who, yes.
No, just read there.
Which one?
It's very clear. Say, how do you exercise this sovereignty?
Yes.
Just read that one.
The sovereign power of the people is exercised at the national and the county level.
Yes, and the other one? Judiciary.
Judiciary. No, that's on 3, whereas sovereign power under the Constitution is delegated to the following state organs. Parliament, the national executive, the judiciary, and independent institutions or tribunals.
Yes. So where is the People's Assemblies there?
Because on 4, because that is 3. If we stop on 3, there's no People's Assembly that has been mentioned. But what they are doing is going through the counties, and we have seen at least 11 counties right now out of the 17 have passed or have already begun this debate. So they are going to 4 and saying the sovereign power of the people is exercised either at the national level, the presidency, or it can also be exercised at the county level.
Yeah, that's what I've told you. I've told you about the national government and the county government. And I've told you about the judiciary
the institution
and the institutions. Now, if you read the first page about the sovereignty, read the first paragraph. The sovereignty of the people.
Yes, belongs to the people of Kenya and shall be exercised in accordance to this constitution. The people may exercise their sovereign power either directly or.
Yes. Now, then down there, it says, now, who are these people who can exercise this sovereignty?
And they're mentioned in 3.
They have mentioned it. So there is nothing, if, for example, the framers of the constitution wanted what people are talking about, what they should have said, the sovereignty of the people shall be exercised by the people and or, in other words, in the alternative. There is no alternative there.
So you can pick only one directly or through the democratically elected representative, which we assume is Parliament and the county assembly.
It's not assumption. It's already provided there.
Yes. So, but now how did they go to 4, where now they talk about the counties? Why are they invoking 4?
No, the counties really, here, the counties here we are talking about the county assemblies, already elected.
With the leaders in them.
Yes. Not another institution you are going to create outside that thing.
Okay.
And this is where there is people are being misread. I can tell you that. Because if the constitution, as I said, had said and or, then to be, in other words, this all in the alternative. There is no alternative.
So in your mind, Wakili, they are misinterpreting 4.
They are misleading the people.
In 4.
Let me tell you. We have some very bright lawyers within the NASA community. They know it. But what there is that they are misleading the people purposely to achieve an objective. Objective of mobilizing people, but not as provided for in the Constitution.
The Constitution?
Yes.
Okay.
I think I will agree with the advocate. But coming from Northeastern, we have been in that road. We have done that. We have experienced it. From 1963 to 1969, we tried to secede from the rest of Kenya, Northeastern province. We failed. It was very painful. What the government, Kenyatta one did was, you, Ken, are in Nairobi walking, and you are a Wariahe. Come, represent your people. You get my point? That was in the 60s. There was no election. Completely.
So people were handpicked to represent, to be people's representatives from the ground. Okay.
That's what Kenyatta one did. Now, this secession provinces...
You could argue it's a popular initiative. I don't know what you think.
Which one?
The secession is a popular initiative.
Well, you know, the colonial government administered NEP and the rest of Kenya differently. When they were given independence to Kenya, I remember one of the governors or one of the Mijungu saying, there is one half of Kenya that does not know the other half. Or something. There was a famous quote. Right now, that's the same scenario is what they're proposing.
So do you think it's likely, now that he's spoken about the legal root of this, and it doesn't exist, do you think it's something that we should be heading that way?
No, it's futile.
It's futile in all
in
right.
my opinion.
All right.
It is.
I have a few minutes left on the clock.
Okay.
Let's speak about the way forward. And on Tuesday, this word, temporary incumbency, comes to an end because now President Uhuru Kenyatta will be able to exercise some of those responsibilities that he's not been able to exercise. So temporary incumbency, we can't go without discussing this because it's been something in our lips for the longest time.
Yeah.
Finally, it comes to an end on Tuesday.
Yeah. Now, the Constitution under Article 138 talks about, first of all, 134, that is the one that talks about temporary incumbency.
Yes.
Let me explain what temporary incumbency means. It means that the president, yes, he is the president of the republic, but there are 6 functions he cannot do while he is well, the vote have started. It says the moment the first vote, for example, on the 26th of October, the moment the first ballot paper
was cast, 6 a.m.
automatically the temporary incumbency
begins,
starts to function. And what does that mean? It means the following. The president can exercise all the powers he has except the following 6. 1, he cannot appoint or nominate judges. 2, he cannot appoint or nominate cabinet ministers, neither can he even fire them. He cannot nominate or fire people that he constitution is allowed to appoint. Finally, he cannot appoint or fire cabinet, he cannot fire or appoint high commissioners and ambassadors. 5th, he cannot exercise the power of mercy. And 6, he cannot confer national honors.
Yes.
Those are the 6 functions under temporary incumbency that the president cannot function. But every other function he can. However, on 28th, Tuesday, the moment the president is sworn in, his powers and functions will be stored in totality as provided for in the Constitution of our Republic.
Okay.
Yes.
So on over the weekend, at the burial ceremony of the late Nyeri governor, when 2 legislators, a governor and the majority leader, talked about the president should wait and hold the Bible before exercising his functions fully, they did not contemplate what is written here.
No, see, there's a...
Because what they were talking about is
dangerous.
Yes.
It is dangerous when people purport to talk about something that they actually are not quite vast. As I have outlined, those are the only functions
that he was unable,
the president
or is still
could not,
unable to do.
Under the Constitution, exercise. Every other function of the presidency is intact.
Okay.
Yes.
On the 28th, Commissioner, President Uhuru Kenyatta is sworn in, and then NASA is also muting. You've heard they've said the wakiapisha tunaapisha. What is likely to happen in this country? Can you fathom? Can you foresee?
I think that's a very dangerous scenario, and Kenya is one. Kenya is one, indivisible, whether we like it or not. And the way forward, if such a scenario comes out, will only be, putting this country in a situation that is unwarranted, a situation where we might not get out of it. Somalia has been at war with itself for the last 30 years. They are unable to find a solution. Then we are creating a condition where outsiders with their vested interests, will come and try, in quotes, help us, when in fact they have their own what? Outside vested interests. So the way forward for the president-elect is, one, once he's sworn in, the way forward is that he should fight corruption, he should fight tribalism, he should majorly unite this country by calling on upon the NASA group to come to the negotiating table, to come. He can take a cab, or His Excellency the President can drive himself to Raila's house, have a cup of tea, or even with samaki and some, ugali together, with no advisors, and say, hey, this is our country. This is the only Kenya we have. Only Kenya we have.
You believe that's possible? Looking at the conditions that have been given, Raila Odinga says he can only meet Uhuru Kenyatta and talk about one thing.
I believe that's just for public consumption.
Okay.
That's public consumption.
Okay, it's not the real thing.
Let me just speak to the law. Yeah. Because you see, our constitution is the mother law. And it speaks to the following. That if you look at Article 3 of our constitution, and I think I had talked about it.
Yes.
It says any attempt to form a government in any other manner as provided for in the constitution is void. If you look at Article 2 of the constitution, it says that any action or omission that is inconsistent with this constitution is also null and void. So if you now attempt, and it's very sad because very knowledgeable people are trying to talk about that there can be a question of swearing in the Right Honorable Prime Minister to the presidency. It is, first of all, unconstitutional, and it is illegal. And what is the consequence of that? You be committing very serious acts called treason. Treason has certain mandatory consequences. So I would like to persuade anybody that wants to talk about what they are talking about. First of all, they must verse themselves with the Constitution, and then they should also go and read Penal Code, Section 40. And they realize, what does that mean when you are trying to constitute a government outside what is contemplated for
You think
in the
they
Constitution?
don't know, Akili? You think they don't know?
I say I know, but then they must be prepared for the consequences.
Yes.
Yeah, it's simple and plain.
Because with the kind of legal advice and the legal minds around Raila Odinga, they're obviously aware of this.
I know that, and I'm trying to tell you this. If you attempt to do that, then you must be prepared for the consequences. But more importantly, I heard you say that the only issue that Honorable Raila and Uhuru Kenyatta can dialogue on is about election.
Not me, that's Raila Odinga.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yes,
that's what you have said.
Yes.
But let me also tell you something. If you read our constitution from the beginning of our preamble to the 18 chapters of our constitution, the one thing that is very clear, there is the following does not exist. Mm-hmm. One, having elections within 90 days. It doesn't exist
anywhere in the Constitution.
Two,
yes.
Having what they were calling interim government does not exist anywhere in our Constitution. So the question that Kenyans need to ask themselves is this: are we a nation that believes in the doctrine of separation of the doctrine of rule of law and due process? And if we are, then the reference point is the Constitution of our republic.
As I want to wind up, but one more question for you,
yes.
Legally, because you're the legal mind here. One more question. In the face of what's happening in the country currently, with the divided nation, split right in half, and with the hardline positions taken by opposition, and obviously the government is pursuing legal options, and that's what we've seen, court and everything. We cannot take measures that are beyond the Constitution. For example, sitting and talking, probably organizing a temporary government to take us through this season? Is it possible?
No, it's not. Please.
Because IPPG happened. It was not in the Constitution.
No. Let me tell you, my friend. First of all, any attempt to do what you are saying, it has to be informed by Chapter 16 of our Constitution. And that is the amendment of the Constitution.
Okay.
That is what has to be done. So that avenue is opened. And as I said, it is two ways. You can either have what is called popular initiative, or you can have parliamentary initiative.
Okay.
That is what is provided for. However, I want to say outside of the Constitution, nothing stops Kenyans from sitting down and having a dialogue.
Okay.
And that to me...
Under what framework?
Yes, under the framework of... within, let me put it this way. Maybe I should take my word. Within the framework of our Constitution, which is Chapter 16.
Yes.
Okay, because
which
now,
is an amendment
if you want,
to the
exactly, amendment to the Constitution.
Yeah.
However, the Constitution does not preclude a meeting such as the one that is being proposed by Mheshimiwa Hussein here, saying that, yes, there can be a dialogue. And let me also tell you something. Whenever I have listened to Ruto, to Raila, and whenever I listen to the president speak, they talk about of each other as a brother. And nothing could even have been more practical in that relationship than when the late Castro died.
Okay.
The
so
son
it's
of the president,
Fidel
Fidel
yes,
Castro.
yes.
Because the president went out of his way. He even donated Air Force facilities to provide for that. And I believe they are friends. You get what I mean? So outside of what we can demand or even request, at a personal level, I believe
they talk and
they talk and what have you. Why? Because every Kenyan has a stake in one thing.
Okay.
We want stability.
Okay.
We want normalcy.
One country.
Because the challenges that we are facing as a country is to be able to inventorize this country with enough production of goods and services.
All right.
We cannot do that under any other circumstance other than having tranquility and peace and stability.
This is said now to be political solution. We are no longer seeking a legal solution. We have the legal solution. It's settled. It's a political. As you wind up, I'd like to give you final words in the way forward after 28th, looking at possible scenarios that we've talked about, just briefly, and then you can conclude.
I'll just call upon the president to call Raila, sit down with him, dialogue with his troops. You know, Raila has several MPs and so on. I mean, Kenya is greater than all of us, individually as well as group-wise. And the only way out of this current situation is political. I mean, Kenya is big enough to accommodate all of us politically, resource-wise. I mean, why should we destroy this country because of politics? No need.
Okay.
That's the lesson. We must learn lessons from Burundi, from Somalia, you know, and other failed states.
So you are agreeing there's a problem that needs to be fixed?
Political problem.
That needs to be fixed.
Which is not, what do I say, is not the end. Politics, tunachapana siasa, then you go and shake hands.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wakili.
My parting shot is that as a country, we need to respect institutions of the land. And those institutions of the land, they are very clearly provided for in our Constitution. I will be the first one to say we need to actually look at our Constitution in its present form, but look at it in a way of a very inclusive nature, so that we can now say what are the areas we feel they need to be addressed in order for us to be able to bring to an end these cyclical challenges that we have. Every 5 years, we damage our economy. Every 5 years, we create a situation that shows as if we are having a conflict. Kenya is a brand. And that brand, every one of us must participate in making sure that we do not damage it.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you. Well said. Karanjo Kabage, Advocate of the High Court, and Commissioner, thank you very much, Abdirashid Abdullahi, for coming and sharing with us. And of course, the conversation continues. It's barely 5 days left before President Uhuru Kenyatta is sworn in. Believe me, there's still a lot of conversation around the swearing in, and the conversation will continue. Time now for some business. Let's speak to Zainab Wandati, who's in studio. Zainab?
Well, thank you very much, Ken. Today, the Business Desk is following up on a number of stories, including a meeting of customs officials from around the world that Kenya is hosting. But right now, I'd just like to tell you about what we've prepared and the development of online portals by the government to facilitate trade in the export and imports has brought forth the realization of a multitude of hurdles that exporters face despite a concerted effort and the quest by government to grow exports. For instance, you have to go through at least 50 steps in order to be able to export tea. Now, in the latest trade information portal to be launched is the Information for Trade or InfoTrade portal, which has been set up by the Kenya Trade Network Agency or KenTrade. Now, this new portal has been developed with facilitation from Trademark East Africa and the United States Agency for International Development, the USAID.
Lack of information has been one of the key impediments hampering the efficiency of trade. Numerous steps to get the approval of documents related to imports and exports is the other one.
Ladies and gentlemen.
The launch of the Information for Trade or InfoTrade web portal is aimed at eliminating these hurdles.
The benefit is that now we have a one-stop shop for information. All trade-related information, whether it's requirements, institutions involved, where they are based, the contact people in those institutions, that is now all available. Previously, it used to take up to 10 days. I mean, the studies we have to take up to 10 days just to get some of that information.
It could, I think, reduce the time from around 10 days to, we hope, the click of a button. That will be a big step forward. It'll obviously increase the compliance rates by importers and exporters, and it will make, let's face it, the trade procedures available, transparent and predictable.
The development of the portal by the Kenya Trade Network Agency or KenTrade began in May 2016. The data fed into the portal has helped bring to light the reason why Kenya at times shoots herself in the foot with regard to addressing the challenge of growing her exports.
Like exporting tea has got more than 50 steps. That is not realistic. So again, this portal provides us with the opportunity to identify areas where we are going to undertake reforms in order to we can bring them down to maybe 15, 20 or less.
The portal makes use of the UNCTAD e-regulation system, which is a database designed to make administrative procedures transparent, swift and efficient.
The portal has consolidated over 120 documents and procedures required for import and export in Kenya.
We've already documented 18 commodities. The documentation is done in terms of commodities that are imported or exported. So anything you want to import, you just click, you'll be able to search for it and you'll find it. We will continue documenting new commodities.
Kenya has now complied with Article 1 of the Bali Trade Facilitation Agreement.
Mid last month, the government launched the Kenya e-Trade portal to provide importers and exporters with relevant data and statistics to enhance their business.
Importantly, the integration between Kenya Trade portal and information for trade in Kenya has been finalized.
Trademark East Africa hopes to link regional states with similar platforms such as InfoTrade together. Currently, the Kenya TradeNet system has over 9,000 registered users. The success of the portal will to a large extent be hinged on the public's awareness of its existence and its user-friendliness, which should extend to the mobile phone. Alex Mwangi, NTV.
Now, in a related story, senior customs officials, scholars, government and tax authority officials drawn from the East and Southern African countries are in the country for a two-day World Customs Organization conference that has kicked off at the Kenya School of Monetary Studies. Now, this conference is hosted by the Kenya School of Revenue Administration, that is KESRA, which is the World Customs Organization's regional training center. It will be presided over by the National Treasury Cabinet Secretary Henry Rotich, as well as the Kenya Revenue Authority Commissioner General John Jiraini. Now, this year's conference will explore topics aligned to the theme of impact and implications of trade facilitation agreement, coming just a day after the launch of the Information for Trade in Kenya web portal, which has consolidated more than 120 documents and procedures required for import and export business in Kenya and one online platform. Now, the cabinet secretary in the Treasury Ministry is not attending that conference. We understand that he's away in Uganda on official business, and therefore that conference is in the hands of the Kenya Revenue Authority. Now, moving on, if you're a frequent user of Ngong Road, you need to be aware of the changes that will affect your commute. Now, the intersection from City Mortuary roundabout to Valley Road will remain closed starting tomorrow, that is the 24th of November to 8th December. Now, this will pave way for phase 1 of the Ngong Road construction that has been underway for a few months now by the Kenya Urban Roads Authority. In an open public notice, Kura says that motorists who want to access Daystar University and the Doctors Plaza will not be affected by the closure. Now, other road users will have to use Ralph Bunch Road as alternative options for motorists who will be using Ngong Road or Valley Road. The waterfront Karen has signed South African retailer Game Stores as its anchor tenant in a move that is set to enable Game to open its second outlet in Kenya. Now, the waterfront is a mall planned to open in Karen in January next year, and other than the retail business and other stores, one key feature that this mall will have is a man-made lake on a 3.5-acre piece of land. The property developers say that signing Game as an anchor tenant shows renewed confidence in the retail market, especially now when Kenya's biggest retailer, Nakumatt, is closing a number of its anchor tenant branches around the country due to its poor financial health. Now, this is a story that we've covered recently in the last few years, and that is the matter of coffee theft. Now, this is the biggest challenge that farmers face and cooperatives face, especially since pretty much in every theft case, the perpetrators never get caught, and in fact, the police are oftentimes accused of being implicit. Now, over the years, the Ministry of Agriculture has introduced new measures to protect the coffee, but the problem never seems to end. So now leaders from Embu County are asking cooperative societies in that county to install cameras at their premises as a security measure. Now, these leaders, that is the members of parliament and county government officials, have asked the farmers to also insure their crop in order to cushion themselves if theft occurs. One of the things that Kiambu County is known for is that it produces a lot of milk. And now this volume of milk that the county produces is set to increase in the coming months after the county government rolled out a program that is intended to increase the capacity of dairy farmers. Speaking at Newberry Dairy Cooperative Farmers, after delivering a new milk cooler to farmers, Kiambu Deputy Governor James Nyoro said that the program includes installation of milk coolers and provision of artificial insemination services in order to improve the livestock breeds. The Newberry Cooperative is among 3 others that will benefit in this first phase of the project, and the farmers say that the milk cooler will increase their production to more than 13,000 liters of milk per day.
These are only coolers, so we also have a program of ensuring that they access pasteurizers, because I think it's a requirement from the dairy board that all the milk that is being processed is not just cooled, but it's pasteurized and it is processed. So we, in collaboration with the national government, will be working with the cooperative societies to ensure that they access those facilities. We want to change this a bit.
If you're a keen follower of the Nairobi Stocks Exchange, then you know what happened at the booth yesterday, because Safaricom's performance at the Nairobi Securities Exchange has embraced a strong moving on attitude as the price of its shares rose to the highest level it has ever been. That is 28 shillings and 25 cents per share. After this 5.6% rise from the previous trading session's level, the price dropped to close the day at 28 shillings. The record high price was recorded as foreign investors rushed back to the NSE after political tension in the country showed signs of calming down following the Supreme Court's upholding of President Uhuru Kenyatta's re-election. This improvement also points to the investors' defiance of the NASA coalition's calls to boycott the firm's products on accusations of being part of the alleged election malpractice. Further, the telco giant, which is also most capitalized company at the bourse, was the main beneficiary of the foreign purchases, with analysts expecting it to increase further if interest from foreign buyers continues in coming days. Well, yesterday Safaricom closed at 28 shillings per share, but then today it opened the market at 28 shillings and 25 cents, having gained 0.8% in terms of value. Now, that is all that the business desk is prepared for you at this hour, but we'll be working on more to bring you in their subsequent bulletins, that is 7 o'clock and 9 p.m. But for now, NTV Today takes a short break.
Well, time now for some quick news updates. In this hour also we'll have sports, and Sean Karavelis will be joining me all the sports. But first, President Uhuru Kenyatta has already officially commissioned the construction of the 19 billion Thiba Dam in Kirinyaga. NTV's Melita Oletenges is covering this event for us, and he now joins us live from Muranga. Thank you very much. And Kirinyaga, rather, not Muranga. Apologies for that. Melita, good afternoon. We understand the president has already commissioned this dam and has left, but tell us exactly what has happened and, of course, the value that comes with this dam.
A very good afternoon to you, Ken. We are at the Thiba Dam here in Kirinyaga County, which is in Gishugu constituency. And a few minutes ago, President Uhuru Kenyatta was able to go through this general map of the project area. He was taken through the general map of the project area. Actually, where we are standing right now is part of where the Thiba Dam project, the Thiba Dam rather, will be constructed. And the president was accompanied by the Deputy President William Ruto, who is also present. I've also seen the Water and Irrigation Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa, who was also present at this particular function. Now, Ken, this particular project is estimated to be conducted with over almost 19 billion shillings, and we understand that upon its completion, this project will be able to double up rice production in Mwea irrigation scheme, which is also in Kirinyaga County. So, Ken, what has happened is that the president, after being taken through the general map of the project area, he was able also to go enter into the Caterpillar, which is the truck right behind us, and he was able to officially launch the project, the groundbreaking of Thiba Dam. So, Ken, we understand that the president will be also addressing majorly, and that is where the president and his other dignitaries are headed right now. But, Ken, the situation in Thiba Dam right now is that the groundbreaking has already happened here, and we've also seen the Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru also present here, and obviously we've seen also leaders from government who are also present in this project. So, Ken, that is what is happening in Kirinyaga County, and we'll be keeping a tab on everything that is happening here. Back to you, Ken.
Right. Thank you, Melita Oletenges, for that. And, of course, Melita Oletenges will have a report from that location in Kirinyaga, where the president just commissioned the 19 billion Thiba Dam. Muranga Governor Mwangi wa Iria has ordered the county health executive operating from the Muranga Level 5 hospital to improve supervision of the hospital. An impromptu visit by the governor to the hospital revealed a dire situation, with referrals being made for basic services and medicine.
The irate governor gave the hospital staff a piece of his mind after his impromptu visit to the Muranga General Hospital.
Well, by every evening, I must be given the list of.
He found that hundreds of patients were being referred to private labs and pharmacies from the county referral hospital by specific health practitioners. Patients complained that the hospital lacked basic drugs like dewormers, and that the referrals were to specific pharmacies.
I can't understand why people or why doctors should be sending patients to an outside laboratory for basic tests. Very basic tests. I don't think there is any private laboratory in Muranga town which should be better than Muranga Hospital Laboratory. This is now a level 5 hospital.
Wairia accused the medics of colluding with private labs and pharmacies to get a cut from every patient they refer to them. The governor says the county spends 700 million shillings annually on medicines and laboratory chemicals and doesn't see why there should be a problem.
I've given instructions at the hospital that any referral from the hospital must be signed by the hospital superintendent. And the county government every evening must be given a list of referrals which were made during that day for both laboratories and medicine. The other thing is that we have said the Minister for Health will shift and he'll be operating from the hospital from today.
The governor also asked patients to report to his office if there are no changes. Andrew Ochieng, NTV.
And let's go across our borders. Zimbabwe's Emmerson Mnangagwa has returned to the country to be sworn in as president after a week of turmoil that saw the military swoop into the capital and oust President Robert Mugabe. Emmerson addressed huge crowds outside the ruling party's headquarters on Wednesday as he made his first public appearance after going into hiding.
Zimbabwe's incoming president, Emmerson Mnangagwa, returned home to a hero's welcome on Wednesday as thousands of...
The harmful practice of child marriage still persists.
End Child Marriage in Kenya is a national campaign that aims to drive awareness around the harmful practice of child marriage as an under-discussed form of violence against children. Almost 1 in 4 Kenyan girls is married before the age of 18 and 1 in 20 before their 15th birthday. The highest number of underage marriages was recorded in Northeastern and Coast. Nairobi and Central have the lowest numbers. Northeastern region has the highest prevalence of child marriage with 56%, followed by Coast at 41%. Nyanza is third with a prevalence of 32%, while in Rift Valley and Western prevalence stands at 30 and 27% respectively. Even with a strong legal framework where the minimum age of marriage is 18 years, the harmful practice of child marriage persists, especially in rural areas.
Child marriage is illegal and it is a crime. But as with many laws around the world, their implementation can be a challenge, and it needs the support of community.
Child marriage has devastating consequences. These young girls are often faced with serious health, economic and social issues such as complications during birth.
And the gap between the law and reality means 2 million Kenyan girls are still living a life that they do not want or do not deserve. And that's why the Australian government is very excited about partnering with the UNICEF and other important stakeholders to help end child marriage in this country.
Because a country cannot move forward, cannot develop, if you don't fully utilize the potential of 50% of your population. It also increases the risk of these young women, these young girls, for violence, abuse, and so on in marriage. And we know from data that this is something which happens all too frequently.
We need to invest in the implementation of our policies. We need to give a lot of resources so that we know that the laws are being implemented from the grassroots to the national level. Then we'll be able to relate to the global events.
Also to ensure that the government, especially now the county governments, they can do civic awareness, civic education, ensure that girls are protected, they are in school, they are getting an education, because we all know that education is also compulsory as a country.
The End Child Marriage campaign, spearheaded by UNICEF and the Australian High Commission, will work in 8 counties, that is Garissa, Wajir, Tana River, Marsabit, West Pokot, Samburu, Migori and Kisii counties.
And I hope that with this campaign, we will be able to make a modest start to this. And of course, we will need everybody to engage in it. Real change in society is not affected by laws. Real change in society is caused by a change in the heart, and after that in your mind.
The campaign aims to increase girls' access to education and healthcare, educate parents and communities on the dangers of child marriage, increase economic support to families, and strengthen laws enforcing the minimum age of marriage. Rozongoi, NTV.
And there were more celebrations in various schools across the coast region following the success of KCPE candidates. This came as the father of the girl who scored 440 marks organized a surprise party for her in Kilifi.
Celebrations erupted at Bethany Christian Academy in Matuga, Kwale County after it emerged that the school had performed exceptionally well in this year's KCPE exams. 14-year-old Ruth Chaka from the school scored 446 marks.
I thank my teachers for their support and also their support for my family members.
Kusomesha mtoto si uwezo wako, kusomesha mtoto ni uwezo wa Mungu mwenyewe, maana katika hayo yote ni kumtegemea Mungu.
In Kilifi County, Jackson Karisa, the father of Shali Nadzua, who scored 440 marks in KCPE from Milimani Kitengela Junior School, drove all the way to Turtle Bay Resort in Watamu to congratulate his daughter in a special way. Hotel staff also organized special cake and delivered it, congratulating the girl for making her family proud.
Right now, I've made it to get an A in KCPE, and I'm trusting God to do the same come KCSE, as I'm planning to keep my pace in my studies.
Tabia ya huyu mtoto imekuwa nzuri kwa sababu ni mtoto wa kujituma. Mara nyingi hakuna siku ambayo ungelimwambia iwe lazima aende akasome.
Still in Kilifi, two girls from poor backgrounds say they worked hard despite the odds at Malindi Kingsway Academy to make a difference in their lives. One of them, Lucy Dafano of Italian and Kenyan parents, says many look down on her due to her background. She scored 423 marks, while Amina Mwangiri got 432 marks.
That was something in the people that such girls or such people from a background, they cannot emerge as top scorers because they're used to this high lifestyle of enjoying.
I used to borrow books from my friends and study. I studied with a lot of challenges.
In Taita Taveta, parents, teachers and friends celebrated at St. Stephen Academy in Voi, where Symington Jomba scored 429 marks.
And as we go to the next level, we want to produce good marks at the end of the 4th year.
Peter Mwangangi, NTV.
All right, from the coast to the western of Kenya, 2 days after the KCPE results were announced and celebrations are still ongoing in various parts of the county. The latest took place in Lugulu Boarding Primary School in Bungoma County. The school produced the top student in the county. Basil Karenjo scored 442 marks and was all smiles as his teachers, parents and friends joined to celebrate his victory. Festivities were also unfolding at Dad Primary School, where Tatiana Wamalwa was excited for becoming the top girl in the county with 441 marks. Bungoma Governor Wycliffe Wangamati apparently joined to congratulate Tatiana and promised to sponsor her secondary school.
Is to ensure that the students who qualify to go to national schools and have fees problems, they must go to national schools. So I want to tell her that the county government will take care of her fees and she goes.
All right, I mentioned Oparanya there. He also joined the candidates and parents in Kakamega, not Bungoma. Coffee theft is one of the biggest challenges that coffee farmers and cooperatives face, especially since in pretty much every theft case, the perpetrators are never caught. Over the years, the Ministry of Agriculture has introduced new measures to protect coffee, but the problem never ends. So now, leaders from Embu County are asking cooperative societies in the county to install cameras at their premises as a security measure. The leaders, that is the members of parliament and the county government, have asked the farmers to also ensure that the crop is in order to cushion themselves if thefts occur. And the waterfront Karen has assigned South Africa retailer Game Stores as its anchor tenant in a move to set to enable Game to open its second outlet in Kenya. The first one is along Thika Road. Now, the waterfront is a mall planned to open in Karen in January of next year. And other than retail and other stores, one key feature it will have is a man-made lake on the 3.5-acre piece of land. The property developers say signing Game as the anchor tenant show renewed confidence in the retail market, especially now when Kenya's biggest retailer, Nakumatt, is closing a number of anchor tenant branches around the country due to its poor financial health. And senior custom officers, scholars, government and tax authority officials drawn from the East and Southern Africa countries are in the country for a two-day World Customs Organization conference that has kicked off at the Kenya School of Monetary Studies. The conference is hosted by Kenya School of Revenue Administrations, which is the World Customs Organization Regional Training Center. It will be presided over by the National Treasury Cabinet Secretary Henry Rotich, as well as the Kenya Revenue Authority Commissioner General John Njeraine. This year, the conference will explore topics aligned to the theme impact and implication of the Trade Facilitation Agreement, coming just a day after the launch of the Information for Trade in Kenya web portal, which has consolidated more than 120 documents and procedures required to import and export business in Kenya on one online platform. And with the ban on plastic bags, solid waste disposal remains a major challenge, causing health and environmental hazard across the country, threatening public health. This is according to the National Environment Complaints Committee that says reckless disposal of solid waste and sewer water contribute to the unhygienic and unfriendly environment by up to 28%. Speaking at the Athi River in an induction seminar that brought environment experts and researchers across the board drawn from across the country, environment experts termed solid waste management as a concern that should be addressed to avert health crisis. The committee says it is currently in talks with county governments to embrace good waste disposal practices in order to prevent health complications. Towns such as Athi River in Machakos County, Kitengela and Gong in Kajiado County have become eyesores due to dumping of solid waste, sewer waste and scattered garbage.
And you know, when you do development, there's a lot of development and therefore issues of several facilitators come. Basically, when it comes to the capacity building, we know
Sean Carvelis is in studio with the latest from the sports desk. Sean?
All right, thank you very much. Let's start off with rallying. The Mombasa Governor Ali Hassan Joho and his deputy William Kingi this morning flagged off the 8th East African Safari Rally at the Sarova White Sands Beach Hotel. 30 cars have embarked on the initial day one 500-kilometer journey, and that's through the Old Takai Lodge in the Amboseli National Park. The competitors will battle it out on a 4,000 kilometers adventure in Kenya and Tanzania, and that's over the next 9 days. Team Tido's Stig Blomqvist was the first off the ramp, followed by local heroes Carl Flash Tundo, Baldev Chaga, and former national champion Ian Duncan. The former national Division 2 champion Onkarai was fourth off the ramp.
The route was quite okay, was challenging. The only thing was we were a little bit hesitant regarding the rains. But our 2-day advance car went in and it's given us good reports. Everything is like in order. So yeah, we are looking forward to a good event. I think it's a fantastic thing for Kenya tourism and also for the coast. I mean, you can see we've got drivers from Italy, Argentina, Sweden, We've got our Kenyan drivers. And it's a big boost for tourism. Plus, it's a big boost to the rally fraternity. It diversifies the product.
Now, a provisional squad of 25 players has been named for the Sekafa Senior Challenge Cup, which will be held in Kenya later next month. AFC Leopards goalkeeper Gabriel Andika is among the players called up for the regional assignment in a squad that features no foreign-based players. Other players named include Charles Momanyi of Kakamega Homeboys, Bernard Ochieng of Vihiga United, and Stephen Waruru of Ulinzi Stars. Harambee Stars won the tournament last time it was held in the country in 2013. Stars face Rwanda in their opening match on the 3rd of December. The squad will move to camp on Sunday under new coach Paul Pote, assisted by Stanley Okumbe and Musa Otieno. Staying with football, Chelsea cruised into the last 16 of the Champions League with a comfortable 4-0 victory over Karabakh.
Sean, thank you very much. And before we leave, when it comes to mobile phone quality and affordability are often inverse of each other. This leaves consumers hard-pressed in choosing what device based on the cost and not necessarily the performance. And with the launch of its latest flagship model, that is 05, Infinix has packed its best technology in a device geared towards offering the best-in-class product at a competitive price. This also marks the entry of Infinix into the dual-lens camera system, with the 05 sporting a 12-megapixel wide and 13-megapixel telephoto lens with 2x optical zoom. For selfie lovers, the front camera is 16 megapixel and offers various shooting modes. The phone comes in two variants, that's the 64GB 05 and 128GB 05 Pro. Well, on that camera note, we end NTV Today. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ken Mijungu. Coming up, NTV Sasa with Jane Goiri and Rashid Abdallah. You want to keep it for that. Coming up in about 5 minutes. Have a good afternoon.